Eat more eggs.
Eat more eggs. I
Eggs
would,
are
but
good.
making them takes a while.
That's fair.
I have to deal with my overbearing quantity of what the fuck is it called?
I can see myself. Yay!
Also, in
Yay!
advance warning, Sin, I am using a different operating system from normal, so if things freak out, that's from my end specifically, then that's probably what's going on.
That's a-okay. We'll burn that bridge when we cross it.
It's all right.
I'll reboot.
I'm doing test roll. I was doing test rolls just now just to make sure that it would work while I have voice running on my iPad, and I just rolled probably the only nat 20 I'm going to get.
Poor Cyril.
Oh, I need to roll my omen roll for the day.
Welcome, Roxas, into the chat. Always glad to see you as you're lurking. No worries on that.
Check. Can I technically speaking use Runic Shield to force an ally to make a reroll on their attacks as well?
I think so. Let me double check real quick before I do my intro.
Let me see. I should have it in here somewhere.
Uh-oh. Have you started hiccups? Uh-oh.
No, not again!
Don't worry, my
Here we go.
chest is just fixing itself.
No, I'm not trying to use it. I just want to put the description in there.
It says when another creature you see within 60 feet of you is hit by attack roll, so yes, you could use that on your allies as well.
Yeah, but that's if they're hit by an attack roll. So if we miss, you can't use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I could potentially use it if you nat 1 and then swing at an ally.
That is true. If you nat 1 and you hit your teammate, you can make it so you hit someone else. Okay, so hello and welcome, dear patrons, to the Tables of Tartarus, a chapter of Purgatory Corner. Today I'm your storyteller, Sinspeaks, and we are joined by Ania, played by Storyestry, as well as Cyril, Galmar, Dakota, Rue, and Sapphire. Hi guys!
Hello.
And of course, go check out Storyestry if you guys have not already. She is a fantastic streamer, and we love having her here. Story, do you want to do the recap? You're very good at
it. Okay, give me a moment to think. I wasn't prepared. 1 second.
You're good.
Okay, where did we start at last time? Oh yeah, we came out of the mirror. Okay, so last time on Tyrant's Wrath, everyone exited this mirror that had been showing them their greatest fears. No one took the deal the mirror offered them, but once they were out and they all sort of recombobulated themselves after that weird mental mindscape experience, they were taken to see Roderick, the King of Bandits. And when they met Roderick, he's supposed to be human, and he looks quite, he's in like 20s, 30s, maybe 40s, but he's apparently a few centuries old. Now, our party come with the task to solve the bandits' problem with another gang of possible bandits. Talk to Roderick like, hey, we just want to solve your problem. We don't want to deal with your bandit group. Your bandit group's kind of strong. And Roderick talked to the party for quite a while. In fact, it took most of the campaign and gave them a lot of information on...
Most of the campaign? Wow, he's been talking for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. Most of the session. Well, he's been talking for like 20 episodes.
I haven't even met him yet.
It's so much. Anyway, he was talking for most of the session, and we got a lot of interesting lore, including the fact that Roderick comes from a city that the Elven Kingdom completely burned to the ground and wiped from history, including the Yuan-Ti, the race that has been hinted to have some unfortunate dealings in potential doom for the whole earthly plane in the coming future of the campaign. Roderick told us that, hey, I will totally give you help on the upcoming thing you're doing, like to deal with this other group. But I must warn you, if you do, I will have nothing else to focus my time on, and I will blow up the Elven capital. And our group was like, okay, why are you telling us this? And he's like, well, I don't want you to, solve something and then realize that you inadvertently caused the death of quite a lot. So I'm telling you, you are free to go tell the elves if you want, but if you do, know that they will probably come kill me instead. And I think your party is too much of a goody two-shoes to follow through with that. So do with that what you will. Our party, very befuddled by this, decided to just hang out in the Bandit King's place for a couple days while they decide what to do going forward. And we also came up with our party name, which was Vale's Equinox, which we plan to tell Roderick later. So right now the party has their own little bunker room in the Bandit King's lair, and they're totally chill. They don't even have guards, I think. They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And this is the next day.
And of course, you all get whatever long rest stuffs that you need. You get all of your spells, you get all of your abilities and everything like that all back. You guys are pretty much top of the line of physical and as much mental abilities as you can at the moment. Your scars from the other night were maybe prevalent, possibly.
I mean, Sin, we had the long rest when we woke back up too.
Yeah. But I mean,
We
like,
weren't really hurt.
if you guys are spooked from watching yourselves die horribly,
Our mental scars.
that might stick with you.
Yeah.
But of course, physically speaking, you guys are tip top.
Yay.
You guys all wake up in the same room, kind of just pretty much looking around each other. It's I would probably say you guys tend to wake up kind of early, so it'd probably be like 9 o'clock in the morning or some such. If I recall correctly, does anyone have any idea how many days we've spent so far in the campaign? Pretty sure it's been like around a month.
How long did the journey take?
I
From
believe
Haven to
9
here.
days. Maybe. On.
And we had a week to go to the farm place and a week to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 weeks and 3 weeks. And then we can add like a couple more days in there because we spent a couple days at Haven. So almost a month.
And a couple
That'd be so
days
cool.
at Rue's place too.
It'd be so cool if you could draw if you had like a location tracker, because you have your huge map, and if you just drew a line from like, oh, we went all the way to Gleaming Meadows, and then we went back, and then we went to the Gleam, and then we went to the Sunflower, and now we're all the way over here.
I could do that at some point. That'd be kind of neat. But yeah, so you guys just kind of waking up. The sun slowly shines through the. I would call it a window, but honestly, it's more of a hole in the wall that is just kind of existing there. Laying all the glorious sun, dust, and whatever else is filtering through the airs as you guys slowly come to.
And yeah, puts the blanket over her head when everyone gets up. She's not waking up yet. She's gonna leave the waking up to the early risers of the party. She's still in bed.
So Cyril's going to sort of the room we're in has a door to it, right?
Yeah.
I think
Cyril's
someone
going to
slept
kind
on
of
it.
pop his head out the door a little bit, make sure that there is actually nobody outside.
Doesn't seem to be. Okay. And Galmar's not in the room.
Where is Gelmar? Did Gelmar stay in the room with us last night?
That was a good question, Galmar.
You did see him going to bed around the rest of the group. He's just not there when you guys woke up.
That's not too unusual. He does wake up early along with Rue.
Rue, I'm assuming you're also inside the room?
Yes.
Okay.
I was wondering if I could try to commune with my friend with the 4th level divination spell helping out.
Ooh. Let me look how that works real quick. Spellbook divination. It's all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, I did not realize that clerics had a way to actually commune with their god.
Don't you know? We always be talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a reason that I a long time ago introduced gods and clerics to you as, yeah, a lot of these guys could actually prove their gods exist.
Yeah.
You know what? Fair. Absolutely. Feel free to use your divination for your 4th level spell slot and ask me your one question.
As she is just kind of like she gets off the bed and stuff, straightens up the bed a little bit before starting out, and then she'll go ahead and kneel on the ground right by the bed. Puts her little hands, her little paws up on the bed, and she kind of looks up distantly. It's like, friend, I have a bunch of questions that I want to ask you that I definitely wrote down because I was not going to remember. But I guess just one for today because there's a bunch of questions about how to go about this city that might be in danger from somebody's plans. But I was just curious if you knew the truth about what happened and if you had the moment to talk. My one question is, are the High Elves directly responsible for the bombing of the city that Roderick was talking about?
Interesting. Okay. How do I answer this? Let's see. You feel that same warmth that you always do. It's the one thing that you would 100% always associate with your patron is a feeling of warmth. Usually right behind you, kind of like a hand on your shoulder. As you do so, and as Cyril is like looking outside the doors, he's not seeing anyone, but you all feel this warmth. This it's almost like sunshine kind of seeping into the room and settling down onto your back in a very comforting method. To Rue, she would know this is the essentially the physical embodiment of her god, kind of being in the room there and kind of being a comforting presence. You would hear in your head, but kind of everyone else can vaguely hear the words to a degree. I believe, let me just look real quick. I don't think anyone knows Celestial, do they? Aside from, I think Rue. No, Rue doesn't know it.
I don't think I do. No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think anyone knows Celestial. I know 2 of y'all know fucking Primordial, but yeah. Primordial, I believe, is a kind of adjacent script to Celestial. So both Sapphire and Cyril get hints of some of the words, kind of that make a little bit of sense to them. But only Rue can truly understand what's being said. And Rue, you get in your kind of in the space, you get them saying, your question specifically was, are the elves directly responsible for the attack on the town?
Yes.
Okay. High elves were directly responsible for the bombing of the old city. Okay. You would hear in response, the high elves burned it to the ground.
Wow, that's quite definite.
And the,
Is there any like leeway? She kind of hinges a little bit.
You just feel gentle pat on your shoulder.
Oh, come on, a little bit.
It's just imagine because like the last time we saw this guy, it was just like this, like well-meaning, but like not like like amazingly bright, but like just nice. It's just like this solemn. The high elves burnt it to the ground.
You can everyone else kind of just you vaguely get the message of it being a slightly somber tone. Rue, you can hear it's such a sad statement. It's such a sad voice that you hear kind of traveling through there. Everyone else kind of gets that warm, gentle feeling, gentle pat on the back, and a little bit of the words. But Rue, yeah, he's sad. He's sad.
Did they really burn it to the ground? Not just like torch it afterwards, or?
Ania, who has been trying to catch some Z's, did not catch when Rue first asked the question, but she woke up like once the weird god presence was felt, and now she hears Rue, and she's like clearly like half awake, hair tossed, like what's going on?
Yeah,
Oh.
Adia, you feel the gentle, warm, basically pat on the back of sorts, which is probably very unnerving.
Dakota just like freaking like shriveling up on himself as he gets pat on the back like
Why are you summoning gods? It's the morning.
Oh, Rue is squirming on the ground, feeling that her one question was up. It's like, but wanting more answers.
the
well.
presence slowly fades from the room as as Rue just hears, "I am sorry, child," and it floats away.
Oh. Her hands squirm, and she slowly gets up. Is anybody else in the room? Is it just the girls in the room?
It's everyone but Gilmore.
Oh. Well, that was not what I was expecting.
What happened?
Oh. I talked with Friend a little bit. He said that the high elves, burnt it to the ground. Definitely.
Of course they did. And even though she is, as far as Rue knows, an elf, she says that like of course they would, and just like lays back down.
Oh, I thought that there was going to be like, oh well, maybe it wasn't them, or it was partially them. That was quite finite.
It was partially them.
Dakota just like smooths down his poncho as he just he stands up a bit straighter and is like, wish I could say I was surprised, miss. Sometimes that just do be how it is, as they say.
What do we do then? Then we know for sure it was them. This is too much. I need to go train.
Ania starts to get up, but if Rue starts to leave, she just lays down again.
Oh yeah. She's like, I'm going to go exercise.
He's like, I'll give some helpful word. Oh, you're gone. All right, never mind. I'm sleeping.
Back to bed.
Yeah. The more complicated thoughts are for Leader and others to do.
Fair enough. So you leave the room?
Yeah. We're probably
Okay.
gonna go find Galmar to train.
I'm gonna follow after. I think Dakota also wants to see if he can find Gilmore.
Alright, cool. So both of you kind of brush past Cyril, kind of leaving the room. Sapphire, Cyril, and Nia, you three are still in the room. Cyril, you did not see anyone in the area, but you did see the door to the room with the, honestly, we're just gonna call her Axe Murderer. Alexandria is open. So she probably left at some point earlier.
Can't spell Alexandria without axe.
That's fair. That's what you would have
Parents
seen.
knew what they
Cyril.
were doing.
Hmm?
I was like, parents knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the three of you are just kind of in the room. If y'all want to talk with one another. Hi, Kasai.
I think we are going to need to speak to Roderick. We need quite a bit more information in this investigation.
No, is the kid sick?
Just give me 1 second, guys.
Not a
You
problem.
take your time. No, I didn't mind. I was just wondering if they were okay.
The kiddo needs the hugs. This is the sick time for children, unfortunately.
Yeah, cold season.
Hi. Oh, you're ahead.
Hi.
No, you.
Yeah.
Hi. Best of wishes.
Come on. I'm down. Too bad.
Aw.
That is adorable.
Mhm.
Alright, well, he is,
Where was I?
Oh, there you are. Hi.
No, you were talking about talking to Roderick.
There's no such thing as truly random. I think there's got to be a pattern. I'm honestly glad the two of you didn't decide to just go wander about the camp. I need some eyes that are more perceptive than mine.
Ania lifts ahead from where she's laying in bed. She says, "You don't want to talk to Roderick about information. You talk to the villagers of the city. I was gonna go around camp to look at all the Yuan-Ti stuff later, but I can look around for you too." And then she'll drop her hand and let Sapphire say her piece too. Sapphire?
I'm just here. I'm just trying to think
Hello.
what to say.
You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one thing's for sure. First things first is food.
Priorities.
Fair.
I like food.
Like food. You guys do have your rations. The Roderick did say there was a chef near, I believe, the bottom of the castle, if I recall correctly. And so you guys have a couple options for food, depending on where you guys want to go.
Well, I think it would be good to go and visit the kitchen and not stress our rations. He's gonna reach over and he's gonna grab Nia's blanket and he's just gonna rip it off of her. Time to get up, child.
She'll like grouchily get up and like grab her robe.
It is surprisingly somewhat, it's not quite cold at the moment, but it's surprisingly chill for a I believe you're all in summer, so for a summer morning it's surprisingly chill. Although, you know, that means nothing to Cyril and his fucking 12 layers of body armor.
And Nia's
So
gonna try to
cozy.
It's so cozy. And Nia's gonna try to compromise, and she got up and tried to get Cyril to carry her.
Love that. Alright, so you guys gonna head down to the kitchen? Cool. Alright, so you guys are gonna head down there. I'm gonna move over to Dakota Rue towards Gelmar. So you guys left the room more or less, and you guys started, you know, heading down the area. You guys went down that very long set of stairs, same ones that, you know, Cyril and his group is going to be going down as well. It's just as long as you guys remember. It's easily like 5 flights of stairs or so, but just in a long spiral. So it's kind of annoying. But I mean, for Rue, it's probably counted as exercise at this point. For Dakota, it's hell. It's sheer, undoubtable hell. And but you guys eventually make it to the bottom, either rejuvenated in Rue's case or dying in Dakota's case. And you guys head outside. Gelmar, I assume you would be in a training section of sorts?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So you guys would head kind of through the town to a degree, and you guys look left, you guys look right, you guys look everywhere. It's a surprisingly nice town. It's kind of run down, it's kind of beat up. Most of the places that the folks are occupying are smaller house-like sections that are just they were there already. They've been there for years and years, decades and decades, and they aren't well maintained. They are very simply reused, shall we say. So they're kind of squatting in these houses. So none of them are particularly interesting. You do see all kinds of people. They all have on their armor, their specifically left shoulder has a red talon mark painted onto it. And that seems to be their logo, which Cyril, you will eventually when you see them, kind of recognize that it's a mishmash of the Crimson Claws logo, which was also a red stripe, but it was a single slice instead of 3. I don't think the rest of y'all would have much connection with them, so I don't think anyone else would really get that. But you guys eventually make it to kind of the training grounds. There's not a whole lot of people here, especially there's early in the morning. Seems like no one really enjoys being awake at, 9 o'clock in the morning or so, unless they're really active. But there are some folks just squatting their houses to a degree around you. But you guys walk into this training room and you see Gelmar. Or not training room, but training area. And you see Gelmar. Gelmar, feel free to describe what you were doing.
You can see him. He seems to be training basic X swings against a nearby training dummy in the area. One that, by extension, practically looks like it's already been cleaved in half. He himself, you can hear him giving off. He is panting quite considerably, and he seems to have an array of bags under his eyes. You get the sneaking suspicion he didn't sleep well last night.
Just couldn't wait to get a head start on the training, sir?
What time is it?
What time is it?
About 9 o'clock in the morning or so.
Some sort of morning time?
I guess you could say that. Good morning, by the way.
Oh,
Good morning, sir.
good morning.
Well, by the looks of it, it's hard to state just how good your morning is. How much sleep did you get?
He just places a hand to his face as if he's trying to debate. Maybe 2 or 3 hours.
It's not the best for determining, your battle skills and whatnot. If we get into trouble, you might not be in tip-top shape.
All right, I see your point. Sometimes you just need to think about anything else.
Sun keep you up?
No.
Are you sure
No?
about that? That was some hesitating.
Both of you raise eyebrows suspiciously.
Insight
Yeah.
check that man.
Yeah, you could
Insight check that man.
Hey, Sin.
Mhm.
Cloudrune's passive. Advantage on deception checks.
Ooh.
Oh man, come on.
Hell yeah.
Don't worry, his charisma's not
Oh,
great.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Wow. Even with the lower roll, Rue still gets higher.
You've been with this man. You've been with this man for approaching on 7 months now. You can smell his BS from a mile away, even if he was fully conscious.
Oh.
Been
What's
up all
been,
night training. Could probably smell his BO from a mile away.
What's been on your mind that you can't take it off?
Take one off.
Well, your bad thoughts.
Above game, bad dots.
Thoughts?
Bad thoughts.
Oh, bad thoughts. I'll admit, something in the mirror left a little concern on my head.
I can understand that. Is it about your past or present or future?
Present, I'd say, would be the most accurate. Besides, how on earth are we supposed to get out of this situation out here without a fair bit of destruction?
Do you want to talk about it while we destroy the training ground?
Could use this excuse to sit down.
She sits down, but I take out my axe.
Let me sharpen this while I talk to you.
He slowly turns his head back towards the dummy, gives one more swing as you just watch a corner piece fly off of it. from one guardian to another, what would you do if the thought at the back of your mind was, you can't do your job?
Do my job. Well, I guess I've never thought about that one personally. I'm always either doing it or I've done it.
And the duel against the Shades didn't leave anything weighing on your mind?
The Shades?
Or shadow
The
versions,
doppelgangers is
etc.
what he's talking about above game.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, well, weren't those just monsters from the mirror?
Basic sense, yeah. But even they still have their own way of leaving some level of scars.
It's an unsettling look, to say the least. Kind of starts polishing his gun.
I can still hear the screaming nearly every time I close my eyes.
Not the first time I've heard myself scream, but it's different like this.
That's a horrifying statement.
I'm not even certain I want to begin trying to understand what you mean by that. I just that's cleaving the thing down the middle.
Some questions are better left unanswered, sir. Well,
On there can be no argument.
well, I mean, just because we had to fight those guys doesn't mean you're any less skilled or a guardian for it.
I understand what you're saying, but still, it's been my primary concern to try and aid in defense since the beginning. What do you do when you don't succeed in that regard? The consequences of that are a lot more dire than just successfully or unsuccessfully managing to ward off a random beast.
So far, I think we've done okay. I think every time that we've come out A-okay.
I suppose, but still, how far would you be willing to go if something happened that took one of us off our feet forever?
So
Well,
as I try to just keep upholding the code, as it were. Justice don't wait for no one.
It never does, I suppose.
for myself, I think that if you were not willing to die, I think I'd do everything that I could to bring you back.
Mm-hmm.
I'd write it at the top of my list.
Still just doesn't feel like it would be that simple.
Well, I suppose. But I think all that I think I'd be thinking is go save Gelmar, bring him back.
I appreciate that, but it is still a strong concern on my head, especially over the last couple nights.
I think that was a difficult fight, I guess, for the team. But we did have to fight, I think, at that point to be able to get out, right? I mean, maybe there was another way.
I don't regret what we did in the mirror. It's just bringing up a further reminder for what it is that I'm fighting against.
Well,
At the end of the day, while those screams might not have been ours, they just as well could have been. And they were dang convincingly close to ours.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cowboys Code Rule number 9. If I see injustice to another creature happening, I'm honor bound to stop it. Anything that comes harm to you is downright injustice. All creatures deserve the right to fight for their lives. I'll fight for yours as well, if it ever comes down to it.
I appreciate that. He has finally lowering the accent at least a bit, but still looking a little stressed.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty strong, Gilmar. You've always been very strong, and the rest of the team's strong too. Well, if you ever die, I can always just pay some gold and bring you back.
He's about to raise a finger as if he wants to respond, drops it before shaking his head and turning back to the dummy before giving it a shoulder bash.
Was that not the thing to say?
No, I think you're good.
I think we got the bases covered. Dakota has a really good justice, and we all do, and we got some backup.
Justice.
I think we will be A-okay.
I might legitimately hold you to that, he said, as finally putting the axe away and walking out of the room. Stumbling would probably be a better word for that, actually, but...
He looks quite weary.
Oh, let's go back together. I couldn't even swing anything. It had me thinking really hard.
It's odd thinking.
Dakota just stands up. It's just like, do I have to walk all those stairs again?
Well,
It'll be good for you. He calls back, just slowly taking his first few steps up.
Will it really, sir?
Oh, I didn't even get to train. Oh, could I carry you?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be very cowboy-like, but I mean, if you insist.
Oh, I do insist.
The idea of a 7'6" dragonborn climbing onto the back of a 5'3", yeah, I think 5'3" lady, just like
How heavy is he again?
God, how heavy are you?
Hold on, let me check. I'm not that
Dakota's
heavy.
aren't
Aren't you like 170?
pounds.
You're 90
90
pounds? Oh.
Okay, yeah, I'm fairly certain Root can carry
Yeah,
that.
Root, you feel him get on your back, and it's like a feather.
Yeah. The thing is with the changeling thing, my form changes, but my mass does not change.
Ah.
Oh.
So yeah, you get onto your back, and is dramatically lighter than you thought it would be, even with all of his equipment and all the stuff he carries with him. It's legitimately like you're just carrying a normal backpack that's just unwieldy.
Especially considering you've actively assisted in carrying Gilmar back to his room.
Yeah.
And you know that man weighs approaching on a little over 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had prepped herself, kind of putting her knees forward, as thinking there's going to be a huge thing on her back.
Mm-hmm.
But after just the small shift, she almost just goes backwards. But before she catches herself, she's like, "Whoa! I was not expecting it to be that light. It's like picking up a box and it's being lighter than you thought it was going to be."
Oh.
Oh.
But this was good. This is a good carry weight.
God.
I don't eat that much. He just looks aside.
Oh, maybe you should eat a little more. You have room for it.
Sure. That sounds good. Let's just go. Let's just go.
Oh, tally ho!
You guys head back to the building. As you guys do, you hear some noises coming from the kitchen area. So we're on transition to the other group. You guys have gone down the stupidly long flight of stairs that probably were made with the intention to bore the shit out of people before they get up to the throne room. Really is just a mote of determination for most people if they desire to meet the king. And but you guys get to the bottom, you get into where the kitchen is, and you see this unholy grumpy little dwarf. He is shorter than most dwarves, probably about 3 feet tall or so. And he is doing like 12 different things inside this kitchen. He is making like bread in one section. He is making a stew in another section. He is making what is probably equivalent to a strange looking pseudo pizza, as well as chopping up like 4 or 5 different things in like 3 different areas of the kitchen. And he is moving at like Mach 5 all across the kitchen. And he is shouting more profanities than most you've ever heard in 4 different languages.
Where is
real
the
quick.
lamb sauce?
Did
Yes,
Cyril did Cyril agree to carry Ania, or was he like tough it out?
He agreed to carry her.
Oh.
Yay! Okay, she's dozing while being carried, but she's woken
Adorable.
up by the profanities.
Yeah, and Sapphire, you would know he is speaking Goblin, Dwarven, Sylvan, and Elvish. And then I believe Ania, you know.
I know 2 of those.
You know 2 of those, yeah. So you're getting like every other word. Sapphire is getting every word. But he's just shouting obscenities, and there's no one really else in the room. There's like a couple wood elves who are just kind of standing there, like, what do we do? And they're like wearing like aprons or whatever. They're wearing like usual cooking stuff. They all have that claw mark on their left shoulder though. But they're just watching this dwarf running around, and he has like multiple step stools too, which are like just kind of like little chunks of wood that he just climbs onto, starts chopping, moves over, starts stirring or whatever have you. But he's just moving around, and the 2 of them look over at you, and they appear to be twins, male and female, and they look at you and they just go, "Oh, hi." They speak in unison, by the way.
Oh, he's adorable.
At the dwarf cook.
You hear immediately a snap back of like, "Oh, you son of a bitch! What you mean I'm adorable? I am a goddamn Mr. Cook Chef! My name is Chef! I cook! I'm Cook Chef! Fuck you!" You again only understand about half of those words.
Ania is delighted sleepily, so.
Got me my goddamn stirring stick! It's a tiny ladle, but it looks more like a stick. Yeah, you attach the little metal fixing to at the end as he's like violently stirring the stew before running over to what appears to be a couple cucumbers and carrots and shit, and he is slamming the fuck out of it. He is cutting it in like maybe like a millimeter thick slices. Like they are so unbelievably tiny. He's just pumping through it, and he's like, God, do the goddamn cooking for a goddamn entire town. Do you have any idea how fucking hard it is to make an entire town's worth of fucking food? It's an entire fucking town. The elves just kind of shrug at both of you.
3 of you.
3 of you.
Well, I suppose this would be an awful time to ask if we could perhaps take some of the food.
You see as he's cutting it, he lets go of the knife and it flies directly into the ceiling, like 8 some feet above him. And he just slowly turns to look at you with a goddamn glare. And he's like, "Are you insulting my cooking boy?"
No, I'm asking if I can eat some of your cooking.
Of course you can fucking eat some of my cooking. Why the goddamn hell do you think I'm cooking at 8 goddamn in the morning? Fuck, what time is it? Both elves immediately reply, 9:30. 9 fucking 30 in the god fucking morning. Do you think I'm making this shit so you don't eat it? I will fucking end you.
Yeah, he's adorable.
The knife like drops out of the ceiling, hits the cutting board next to him. He just goes, "See that knife? This is Betsy. Do not fucking disrespect Betsy." And he does say all this in common, by the way.
Cyril just kind of chuckles a little bit. So the stew then.
What the fuck do you want me to make for you? I got stew, I got fruit, I got veggies, I got stew, I got bread, I got stew.
3 bowls and 3 spoons, and we could just serve ourselves out of the stew.
You serve yourself and I'll cut off your fucking hand.
Then 3 bowls of stew, please.
On the way, bitch! And he turns around and starts muttering in Dwarvish some fucking thing you can't understand. Sapphire can perfectly understand as this motherfucker goddamn won't let me. I'm making some goddamn food. I'm fucking making stew. He doesn't want my fucking stew. I see how fucking be. He makes the bowls and slides them over to you. The elves look at you and use and they go, "He's always like this."
I imagine.
Everyone here, everyone in this camp has some weird stuff going on.
Well, it is one of the reasons that we're in the camp.
Nia will climb down in order to actually eat her stew like a normal person.
The chairs are surprisingly comfy for how old they are.
Cyril actually kind of starts staring at the Crimson Claw, the Crimson Talon mark.
The 2 elves just stare at you. They're both wood elves, I believe, but they're just.
I'm not even
staring.
I'm not even looking in their eyes. It's just that I know that mark from somewhere else.
They stare at
Maybe
you
it's just eaten.
completely blankly. There is no emotion on either of their faces.
Just, where do I remember it from? He just sort of kind of aimlessly starts eating the stew.
Are you eating the stew as well, Sapphire?
Yes.
Alright, cool. Are you doing anything else while you're eating the stew, or are you just kind of staring at these 2 emotionless wood elves?
I wouldn't say I'm staring at them. I think I'm more focused on the food.
Fair.
Can I have some juice?
Goddamn, it's a motherfucking juice. Do you think I'm a goddamn winery? I do, in fact, have fucking juice. How'd you know? And he walks out to the cabinet, which when he opens it, part of the door falls off, and he's like, "Fucking piece of shit, rotted goddamn wood!" And he throws it into the wall, across the entire room. And he reaches in and grabs a couple of very nice looking bottles of, honestly, I don't know what kind of juice that would be fruits in this area, but effectively the equivalent of grape juice. And he walks over and he just pours some for you. And he's like, "There you are, Missy. I got you goddamn juice. And you know what?" He puts down the bottle. "There's the fucking bottle too. You want more juice? I will pour it for you."
You.
Yeah. He turns around, walks over to the stew and continues stirring.
India is enjoying her meal.
As Gamar and crew passes the kitchen, you guys just hear these obscenities. You hear Cyril just debating on where he's seen this mark before through the doors.
It's like things are lively in here.
No rest for the wicked, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I guess that wouldn't be us. We get to rest all the time. Definitely not wicked.
Looks
Not
at
literal, but whatever
Gamar.
you say.
Do you guys walk into the kitchen with them, or you guys gonna go back to your room?
I mean, I'm assuming we probably haven't eaten yet, so yeah, I'm probably going in there.
Your stomach
Yeah,
starts
alright.
yelling at you. Yeah, you guys all walk in. You see the same sight. You see the two emotionless wood elves, the dwarf yelling obscenities, and most languages almost none of y'all know. And Cyril just staring at these two wood elves while he eats, and Sapphire and Ania are just sitting there eating. Well, Ania has an adorable little bottle of juice next to her as well.
Gelmar will probably just, I don't know. Can you tell me more about the room itself?
It's a
Specifically,
decently sized room, probably about 9-foot tall ceilings, probably about 30-ish feet from wall to wall, and mostly a square room of sorts. It's on the right side is a little kitchen area, all kinds of different cooking equipment, most of which are fueled by some form of fire, a little bit of magic in there too. On the left side is mostly empty. It's a little bit of cabinets and stuff, but it looks mostly like a rundown kind of establishment. And there's a few stools in front of the kitchen area on the right with a little bit of a bar there of sorts, a little flat plane of wood. And that's where most of the folks are sitting at the moment.
are any of the pots within reach from the desk?
Yeah, you could reach from the desk if you want to. The dwarf is currently cooking all of them, but
And he looks very
I-
angry.
I understand that. I was just like, he looks like he's got a lot on his mind. I better just stay out of his way in this process as he just like walks up and just reaches for one of the pots.
As you reach forward towards it, you feel a sting in the back of your hand as he turns and whips the ladle into your hand from like not 15, but like 5 feet away. He fucking flings it into your hand with precision aim before grabbing out of the air. If you want some motherfucking food, I will serve that shit to you, boy.
He just like stops staring up at the man, rubbing the back of his hand.
Yes, he managed to hurt the back of your hand through your gauntlet.
That's quite the arm you've got there.
I am a motherfucking chef. My name is Chef. Respect the name, bitch.
I like you already, knife man.
He grabs his knife and slams in the counter. Chef, motherfucker! Chef!
Ania is attracted by the noise, and how tired does Gelmar look?
He
Well,
looks like he
clear.
went 3 rounds with the sleep god and lost each time.
Okay. That's all.
Just wanted to look.
Mm-hmm.
Are you opposed to me taking a bowl of this then? It looks quite good.
If you want a bowl, boy, I will serve you it. Now which goddamn motherfucking stew do you want?
I figured he said that as he was pointing at the one he was he was reaching at a moment before.
Oh. Yeah, fuck it, sure. This is my carrot beef stew. It has carrots and no beef. I actually don't know what this meat is. He puts it into the bowl and hands it to you.
Can
No, I'll
I,
try anything once, he said, hesitating, making it and moving back towards the rest of the group.
can I have
Thank you,
the
sir.
can I have the carrot stew without the meat? Is that a thing?
I have carrot and meat stew, I have carrot and veggie stew, I have mysterious veggie stew, and I have... I think these are mushrooms I put into this stew.
I think I'll take the carrot and veg stew.
Alright.
I'm not a fan of the mystery that seems to surround the majority of those choices.
He walks over to his cutting board and starts fucking like dicing up like 16 different things at the same time. He's like, goddamn motherfucker, gotta make me make more stew. This is my goddamn job. This is my life form. This is my livelihood. And he's just slicing through them.
Wow.
So Dakota kind of turns to Yelmar, whoever happens to be near, just like say, "Was that good or bad?" Oh, he's fine. He's just very
Considering-
enthusiastic about the job.
Just like points over to our Hertzania. Considering it's a dwarf, yes, it's very good.
I like my job. You hear in Dwarvish, he's saying, "Fucking pieces of shit, not letting me do my goddamn job. Can't fucking stand these sons of bitches." And he like has his hands out towards the motionless elves, and he's like, "Trying to goddamn do half of my job. I can do it all, bitches." Only Sapphire understood that, I believe, unless somebody else speaks Dwarvish.
Galmar does.
Galmar, you understand that perfectly.
He just like gives a chuckle. It's like being back in Sinspeaks.
Hmm?
It's like being back in Sinspeaks.
I thought it was Ironspire.
It is. Sinspeaks is just a town in the Iron Spires.
Well, that sounds confusing.
It's a mining civilization. I think you can take a guess what their primary export is.
I bet metal, I hope.
Tin. It's an important material in the creation of bronze.
Oh.
It's like when a master of the craft talks to someone who has no idea what the fuck the craft is. Dwarf looks over at Rue. "And you, Missy, what the fuck do you want?"
Oh, me?
I- There are several other Missies here, I assume. I don't fucking know what any of you actually look like, but yes, you... I don't know what the fuck you are.
Oh. I'm a Roo.
He legitimately is just staring at you, like, first time he is speechless.
Can I please try out the stew that had the mystery mushrooms? I wonder if it has an interesting taste.
Oh gosh.
He slowly turns to look at the mushroom stew pot, which is kind of simmering on was effectively a stove, as he's just like looking at it, and he looks back and he's like, "You're the first lassie that wishes for the goddamn mushroom stew. Everyone else don't want the mushroom stew. Do you want anything else with the mushroom stew? Do you? And he holds up the knife towards you.
Oh, no, she smiles as the knife gets closer to her. It's like, could I have a bread with butter? Please and thank you.
Your culinary tastes are fucking amazing." And he slams the knife into the table. He actually misses the cutting board. And he walks out to the stew, starts putting into a little bowl. And he grabs would they have butter?
I mean, theoretically, butter does exist in the world since it's the component for the spell grease.
That's true.
I got cows.
Yeah, fuck
As
it.
long as they have.
I mean, butter did exist during the time period that D&D is usually based in.
Oh yeah, because you can churn it, can't you? How do you keep butter from going bad in these old days? Do you just have to make it every day?
I mean, this is the D&D world. You could just cast an ice spell in a box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
they also probably have like little refrigerators or something. Freezers.
Sellers.
Sellers, yeah. So he grabs a fucking piece of bread, and he doesn't even bother to cut it up. It's just like a half a loaf of bread. And he grabs like it was effectively a stick of butter, and he like hands them all to you. He's like, "All right, Missy, we got the mystery stew that's full of mushrooms. I honestly don't know what kind of fucking mushrooms are in here. I just went wild on them. Have fun. And your bread. I like me some bread. Do you like fucking bread?"
Oh. Not the yeah.
Alright. I like you more and more, Missy. And some butter. I don't know what the fuck you don't do with the butter, but it's butter.
He just gives me like a slab of butter. Like I don't know.
It's just a slab of butter.
Let's you take it. Okay. I take the soup and everything. I have like detect poison.
Ania has lesser restoration.
It's definitely an odd smelling stew. You've never quite smelled a stew like this before.
She's gonna go for it. She just takes a huge spoonful and shoves it in her mouth and takes a quick bite of bread.
Probably a Constitution save real quick.
Let's do it.
Then,
Well,
are
see
the
how
mushrooms
much
the
this
one I think-
affects you.
Are the mushrooms what I think they are?
Very possible.
Oh no.
Come on, good roll.
No,
Wow.
no.
Oh crud.
As you start eating the mushrooms, your immediate response is, "Dear God, this is the most heavenly thing I've ever eaten." You desire to eat these there is nothing in this world that you want more than to finish this bowl of stew. You are so the first bite makes you so fucking hungry that you just start shoveling this shit down your throat like it is a goddamn pastry. You are just chomping away at it.
Do I notice anything from like the smell of the soup?
You aren't
I
able.
notice
You
anything?
guys aren't able to smell the soup fast enough before Rue just devours the entire thing. Like she gets
That's
it.
valid.
She takes one spoonful. Y'all kind of lean a little bit towards her, and it's gone.
Oh my goodness. She's holding the bowl with like both her hands. Like pupils wide, looking at a chef. Wow, that was so the quenchiest.
Quintus.
You're
Sokka.
very hungry now, by the way.
Cyril kind of like after hearing her say that a soup was the quenchiest, like just without even looking, reaches one long arm across the table and like grabs the bowl from her. I think
What
you've had enough.
did it taste like? Did you taste it?
Oh,
You are
Taste is
unbelievably
everywhere.
hungry.
oh no. Is there some more? She like reaches towards the chef.
The chef looks at you. Your eyes are wide now, by the way, a little bit wider than before. It's kind of hard to tell the normal symptoms of stew mushroom intake when your eyes are pitch black. But you are hungry, so he looks at you, he goes, "You appreciate my cooking?" Yeah.
Oh
Oh, I know friends would love this.
He looks over his pot.
Give some to the god.
He looks over his pot and he nods at the pot. And he looks back at you and he nods at you. Very somber, very, very mysterious tone of nodding at you and goes, "It's time for my big bowl.
Oh no.
The big bowl.
Bertha." He walks over to one of the cabinets and he doesn't even bother to open it. He just grabs the handle and rips it to the side. Kind of like a sliding door thing, except it's clearly not, as it just comes off. And he just yeets into the wall. You guys see this massive wooden bowl, which is almost as big as the whole fucking pot of stew. As he struggles to pull it out. Welcome, Jake. But he struggles to pull out this fucking bowl from this cabinet and shit, which is barely fitting in there. And he pulls out, he puts it on the table. And he looks at Rue and he goes, "Alright, Missy, this here is Big Fucking Bertha. I enjoy Big Fucking Bertha, and I require you to eat from Big Fucking Bertha." He reaches over to a stew pot of whatever the fuck this shit is, and he pours it in. And now, Cyril and Nia, you can both smell this stew very quickly.
Nature check.
Yeah, but you roll me a nature check. As he fucking
While
pours it.
she's doing that,
Uh-huh.
I am going to neutralize the poison of the mushrooms acting on Rue with lay on hands. I'm just gonna kind of like gently pat her on the head, and that it'll be that creeping sensation across her body as the poison's just drawn out.
As that's happening, she's like, I can't have this by myself. I must share it. And
Oh,
she'll ring
God.
her little bell. And she accidentally donates all of that to the god.
Now, technically speaking, this is and isn't a poison. So, it is a poison in that it can dramatically hurt the individual, which what's the word? It starts with an N.
Neutralizing.
Neutralizing, thank you. I kept thinking negating, and I was like, that's not even a word. But
Are
yeah,
you trying to say negating?
probably.
Okay.
But you do nullify the that aspect of the poison. However, one thing that isn't necessarily a poison, it's just the way it affects your body, is it makes you fucking hungry as hell. And Ania recognizes this as she's smelling the mushroom. This mushroom is very well known for its number one property being it makes people hungry. It's often used for people who either don't eat enough, don't enjoy eating, or have some serious health issues. It's also very popular in Dwarven cuisine because Dwarvens really enjoy making people eat food. But it's also one of the most unhealthy ones because A, it hurts your body as you eat it actively, and B, if you eat too much, it is bad. So he pours it as Cyril nullifies the poison of it. You ring your bell and the stew just kind of
Bowl.
disappears. Ania, you look, you just see Rue. And Rue, there's nothing on this earth that you want to do more than eat this whole fucking bowl.
Ania pushes her bowl in front of where the bowl Rue just sent was,
Mhm.
and she pushes like the bottle of juice over, and then she also makes sure Rue, like the bread loaf that Rue got, is in front of her, and she'll speak low.
She's fine. She just needs to eat.
Big
She says
bad.
that, and her Rue's eyes are very, very wide, as much as their pupilless is, and she's just stuffing food in her face.
It's just a massive quantity of food that's just being fucking drowned in her existence at this point. The sounds are very unpleasant. You see Mr. Chef standing there with a fucking smile on his face, the cockiest grin that you've ever seen. It's like such a self-satisfactory look.
This is not the kind of poison I thought was going to be in these mushrooms.
I'm not gonna lie. I was half expecting him to just like make these like the top caps I made as joke items. Just like failing the con save makes you spontaneously vomit, but succeeding on it makes the next drink of alcohol do nothing.
Yeah, he just smiles at you guys. He's like, yeah, Big Bertha doing its job.
No, Rue sent the whole mushroom poison to her god, right?
She spent
Yep.
a little bit of it to the god, I think,
Yeah.
right?
I thought Rue said the whole thing.
It was the whole thing.
Oh, you said the whole thing. Oh god.
Oh no!
She
He's
said
a
the whole
god.
thing.
He can
Oh, no.
handle it.
Hey, she always shares.
You feel that warm presence on your back. Then you also start noticing some of the food going missing.
Oh, and I knew it. This is second to cheesecake. No.
You see, as you say that, you see the smile on Chef's face immediately drop.
Oh
Oh, no.
You see him go from like the fucking smile, the happiest motherfucker on the planet, to you saying that, and immediately he frowns and he grabs his knife and he goes, "What the fuck did you just say, girl?"
The clouds are so pretty.
Secondary to fucking cheesecake to the goddamn pastries? Are you saying my food is not as good as a fucking pastry?
Are you saying you can't make a pastry?
Fuck pastries! They aren't good for you. They aren't very filling. All they do is fill you with sugar. Fuck pastries! pastries. I make stews.
Sounds like
Gilmar
cowards talk.
Gilmar just like dips part of his loaf in the soup and takes a bite.
A coward, you say? Fuck you. I can make goddamn pastries.
Oh,
Gilmar
do
just,
it.
dips-
Do it.
Gilmar just like dips part of his own loaf, slice of bread in the soup and takes a bite and just like looks over at him and is like, I know there are some individuals that consider bread to be a pastry, if that's a concern. And he says before taking another bite.
Slowly turns his head to you. All you hear is, all right,
Oh, God.
motherfucker.
I think it's time we leave.
You leave before I make you a goddamn motherfucking pastry. I will wring your dick through a goddamn paper mesh. He turns around and he fucking starts grabbing a bunch of ingredients and shit. And he's like, I don't have a goddamn oven, but you know what? I'll fucking make one. And he starts like moving so his like fucking magical shit around. You guys don't even know what the fuck he's doing at this point. But he starts
I'm
making.
gonna give him guidance. You can do it.
He starts making like a weird fucking oven of sorts. That you guys have never seen someone do anything like this before. His mastery of the craft must be astonishing because he's making an oven in front of you, and then he starts like mixing shit together. He's like, fucking pastry, you know what? No, I just don't make you a fucking cheesecake. I'll make you a cheesecake, I'll make you a muffin, and I'll make you a fucking cake. Fuck you.
Oh my
Gilmar
gosh,
just,
that's so
spills
amazing.
Gilmar is like still slowly watching him with a smile. He's like, now that is or crap, I forgot my word. Now that is dwarven enthusiasm.
He starts making this shit. It takes like over 40 minutes to do as y'all are just standing there eating slowly before finally he pulls out honestly the best looking cheesecake you guys have ever seen in your entire lives. He puts it down in front of you. He puts down muffin and he goes, the cake will be done soon.
My goodness.
Wow.
What are we gonna do with all this?
You ate it, you bitch.
Yeah.
Fire
She
for
does,
Danny to
sir.
eat more.
Yeah. Well, I'll like split it up into parts.
It
It's
And,
been 40 minutes. Yeah.
is a beautiful mastery of a cheesecake. It is by and far the most astonishing cheesecake you guys have ever seen in your entire lives.
How much of this cheesecake can Dakota eat? For anyone.
Roll me a constitution save.
Cyril kind of like quietly slides his slice over to Dakota.
Quite a bit.
Ania's going to like cut her slice in two and is going to offer it to the elves.
The elves smile as they both take one the halves, and they don't say anything. They just smile and nod to you. They do this in perfect harmony, by the way. It's almost unnerving how synchronous they are.
Ania nods.
But you can eat most of the cheesecake, Dakota. Probably around 60% if you choose to.
When those two elves come over,
Mm-hmm.
Cyril's gonna kind of lean in. How many gold pieces would it take for you to cause enough of a disruption for us to leave?
They both, as like they reach for the cheesecake, they both turn and look at you. And they both say at the exact same time, you can leave any time.
The dwarf
you.
might kill us if we leave.
Thank you.
I'm trying. I guess we're trying not to be rude, but I suppose we're in the wrong place for that.
If we leave, he'll probably chase us down.
He may force feed the cake into your gullet, but you may leave any time.
I think
We're
we
just
should.
like watching the dwarf in the action. She's like, I wonder if they have a forge around here. I wouldn't mind spending a bit more time with him.
He
Ania will.
Uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
the dwarf kind of leans forward as you guys are slowly eating his cheesecake. And he's like, "You better enjoy my goddamn cheesecake.
It's very good, chef.
I appreciate you."
I
Child.
appreciate you.
All the best to the chef.
And you will miss it.
Oy, oy, oy.
He slowly turns to Coda. I'm assuming eating the cheesecake.
Yeah.
Best soup since I left the spires. He calls over to him taking the last sip.
Hell yeah. I told you I can make fucking cheesecake. It's child's play. Stew's hard.
Good
Neil.
stuff, sir. Good stuff.
Then you look over to Gilmore like, why do you look so sleepy? You look sleepier than me. You're never sleepy in the morning.
Why are you so tired?
I don't like mornings.
You know, I understand that sentiment, I suppose, but I'm certain you, on a normal basis, looked a lot more awake by now than than this.
Pretty awake now, but you are deliberately trying to change the subject. I am awake enough to notice that.
What do you mean?
I asked why you look tired.
Up and down in the training area.
You're never tired after training in the morning.
Depends on how much alcohol I've got in my system.
Okay.
And she won't press him anymore. She'll go back to whatever food she has left.
Fair. As you say that, you hear, "It's done." And you see the dwarf reach into the oven. By the way, he doesn't use oven mitts. He's doing this barehanded. And he reaches into the impromptu oven and pulls out this giant fucking cake. This is the biggest cake you guys have ever seen without it being stacked. And he pulls out and he slams onto the counter. He's like, "I call this I'll make cakes.
Chef special?
The chef fucking wait. That's Missy. God damn it, it's called the chef special now. Fuck.
How about the we can leave once we're finished cake?
You know what? That's a good name for it. You may leave when you're finished. Wait.
Thank you.
Fuck.
What kind of cake is it?
I've never heard of a cheesecake being made in an oven. Now that
That's true.
is work of the gods.
It's cold cake. It's the cream cheese.
We make cheesecake in the oven.
Yeah, it always starts in the oven. It ends in the fridge, but it starts in the oven.
True.
He's just like, wow, this true cake. You're fairly confident it's like some form of vanilla, probably.
Okay.
This true cake is a masterpiece. Fuck you, it's not the chef special. Alright, it's called Fuck You. Ha. That's the name.
Oh,
Ania will. Oh, go ahead.
This is the Fuck
God.
You special.
wow.
Ania slices a slice and offers it to him.
Huh?
Well, you haven't tried it, right?
A good chef tries his own food.
Huh. Kind of grabs the slice and he's like, how the fuck do you eat this shit?
Take a big bite.
Huh. Alright. Big Bertha, you've served me well. If I die tonight, it's on you, you stupid fucking bowl. And he chomps down onto the bite, and he just goes, holy shit, I can feel the sugar in my veins.
Is that good?
You're welcome.
I don't know.
Does it taste good?
It's my fucking food! Are you insulting me, boy?
I just wanted to know.
Of course, it tastes good. Has anything in this entire room not tasted good? I suppose your arms wouldn't taste good, but I can make them taste good.
No, everything's been so good.
I don't know how I feel about that sentiment.
I can make anything taste good. I've made tree bark taste good.
How do you do that?
Oh, it's a very special dwarven tradition. It takes a lot of very specific spices.
Can I have a box to go?
Of course! He kind of slides the cake over to you.
Do I have a box?
No.
He just wants you to take the whole cake.
How heavy is this cake?
It's like a 7-inch tall cake. It's a really fucking big cake.
How wide is it? Like, is it ridiculous, or can you lift it just fine?
Yeah, you could fit into your bag of holding. It's about that big.
Okay, and he'll pick it up, and she'll start to walk out while they're talking about the tree bark.
I create tree bark. I add spices to it. I cook it for a long time till it's nice and malleable, and then you eat it. You can also add in stews. It's not quite as good in stews, but I can make anything taste good in stews.
I've seen a number of the dwarves up in Sinspeaks actually like to marinate it in certain juices.
Oh, yes. You get that
Notice taking
sweet,
mental
sweet
notes.
marination stew of the goddamn juices into your bark. And he just starts going on a fucking tangent about it, while obviously not paying attention to any of you.
I just imagine everyone's just dragging Gelmar out as they're having this discussion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, I wish I'd known about this before. This would have made that way less unpleasant.
Well,
And he is gonna, and he's gonna start heading back up to the room with the cheesecake.
Sorry, you said you had to contemplate that, or?
It's just really
What?
fucking funny.
Above Gameson, I'm not gonna lie, I think this dwarf is officially my new favorite character.
Mr. Chef. Alright, so you guys start heading back up to the room, dragging Yamar with you. It takes a little bit of a long flight of stairs. The cake seems to grow heavier as you are walking up the stairs, but might be because the stairs are so fucking long. But you guys eventually get back to your room. It's a little bit cramped, of course, but it's a nice room. It's a nice room.
No wonder Roderick never leaves.
I wonder if they're friends.
The chef and Roderick?
Yeah, I should have
Rather
asked.
wouldn't be. You see, it was quite a delightful fellow.
he certainly
That's
knows how
right.
to make a cheesecake.
I had some insightful
That's-
tips.
Does Roderick eat?
Does he?
I thought
Does
all
he?
humans ate.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
but
the-
he's like... He's a couple hundred.
Weird.
Minimum.
He's
Has a coffin.
old.
He's old, though!
And he is gonna. Do we have like a table, and you can just leave the cake on for anyone to like snack on if they like?
Yeah.
Okay, she leaves it on the table.
You want to finish that?
Eats it, eats
Well-
it, eats it.
Then Dakota's like in the corner eating cake. Like,
Well, anyone can eat it as they want. You can have as much as cake as you like.
I'm just imagining that cake from the credits scene from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Dakota's gonna have a
Like-
stomachache later.
It'll totally
It has
worth
been
it.
too long. It has been too long since I saw that one. I cannot remember what that cake looked like.
It was the exact size of the inside of the oven when he pulled it out.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
gosh.
Yeah. That's about the size of it. Oh, I love that. Yeah, you guys kind of in your room now, talking amongst yourselves, having a cake in the corner.
So
Alright.
what are the plans for today? And he'll nod to Cyril.
Well, I do personally want to speak to Roderick and what was his name?
Who?
Mr. He was the too much smiling and
Cade, I think.
yes. I think he was in charge of the investigation, right? Yes.
Something like that.
I think him, Roderick, a map, and at least either you or Sapphire, if you could, but anyone else can come with too. There has
I
to
have
be
a
a
few
pattern.
things.
Hmm?
I have a few things to ask him too. I figure the best way we can find a pattern is by studying who was taken. But I mean, maybe there doesn't have to be a pattern.
Very few things are truly random. And I think
Well,
if we at least have an idea of where everything happened and when it happened, it might point us in a direction, at least give us an idea of maybe where they came from, and might even help us predict where their next target will be.
For all we know, they just simply target the individuals who wander too far from the town's gates.
They're
that's
being
still a pattern.
stolen. They're being stolen from their homes, I think, though.
Mhm. They said that they were in the homes, right?
Oh yeah.
I think we should go. I think that some of us could investigate the town. So how they were taken out. Like maybe there are little tunnels, or did they use spells and get out?
Well, I think we'll do that when we go to the town.
Do we know how far the town is?
About a day away.
It's pretty far. Last time we split up, it didn't go very well.
Oh, I thought we were like in the town. Never mind.
No. The town's
we're-
about a day away. You guys are currently in the Crimson Claw ruins. The town is called Stillwater.
Mm. So basically, we talked to Kate to just get. Oh, but then we.
We also need to find a contingency plan for the next step.
Yes, that's certainly a problem.
Gilmar's just going to take a look around the room to make sure he's listening closely before leaning in.
Do you suspect Windrider has a sending stone?
She never mentioned it. And I don't think she used one to contact Cade for a parlay.
He leans back into his position.
Seems she'd be a wonderful reference for what might happen based on what we do going forward here.
Well, between all of us, 6 messages could be sent. You could have a short conversation over that.
The first question I want to ask is if we have a means of communicating with her from afar that could allow for more than simply the 25 words. Besides, most ideas that we could probably come up with for this situation are probably going to be complicated enough that getting them down to 25 words or less would be difficult.
Hmm. I think it would be better to ask questions of her. And so I would say marshal your questions. And I will give you my sending stuff. I'm sure Ania has no problem giving up hers.
No, I don't. You can have it.
So you will at least have access to that.
But how much can I ask, and how much context can I give with the words I have available?
Nia will sigh and gesture.
It really depends what kind of answers you're looking for. Right now, you're just sort of wondering if she has any information. That's not really the way you want to go about it. You want to figure out a question you absolutely want answered at the core of it, not just beginner questions. When you're thinking of something like this, you need to figure out what is the core question or the core answer you want to get. And then you find the shortest way to get to that answer.
He places another hand to his face before simply turning towards the wall. He pulls out the chisel and he's just going to start marking sigils on the wall.
Well, okay.
I need to start somewhere. The best I can think of to begin is to get my thoughts out.
Perhaps Cyril kind of leans down to Ania and Sapphire. Perhaps the two of you could help him?
Neil sort of sigh, but she says she can do it.
I only ask because the two of you are probably the smartest ones in this group. Nobody gets into the books without showing how intelligent they are.
I already did try to help. I told him to think of the core answer he wants. Once he knows that, I can help more.
That I think will help them. Will help, yes.
About the Stillwater. Speaking with what we already know, kind of pivoting to different questions. Thinking about what Kate said, she pulls out her little notebook. It says that they're definitely kidnapping people, stealing from the town. So at night they disappear somehow. Once a month, around the full moon, which is where we think that there was like some sort of like shenanigans happening once a month. Most adults, though some young, and then they found a shiny scale, right? But it's not Dragonborn, or was that us? Did they find it?
He found it in the bed.
Oh.
And then Neil will take out the scale.
They found it in the bed of one of the kidnappees, and they said they found more.
And she'll offer the scale to Rue.
So.
Before I forget, Rue, in your notes, would you have asked him specifically if they take every month, or would he have just said every month?
He said, well, it doesn't say what specific question he was answering. It just says once a month, around the full moon, mostly before the full moon.
Okay. So leave that in your notes then.
Yeah. So I can try to track the scale as we go around the town. Unless we need more information than this.
That would actually be useful. Because when you use that spell, it will alert you when what you're looking for shows up. If it wasn't there before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I can find it. Locate object.
Right.
Is it particularly difficult to track those items? How regularly could you do it?
Is it duration? 10 minutes. No bueno. But, so we'd have to be a little bit close. Or we could go really fast and cast haste and get going. And go all around the town.
Do you seem likely you'd also be able to sense that needle?
Yeah. We have the skill too.
Yes, and we definitely need to focus on those scales first, but part of me wonders if he's here too.
It might actually be a good idea to do that.
Hastess. Oh, so I wonder if we could get on like a. I don't know how big the town is, but it would be really. Oh no, maybe we can't put haste on the on our ride to go even faster. Because then I could do locate objects from on top.
Speed. I am speed.
Yes.
Just imagining Jetbar running at 80 feet per turn.
Yeah. Or if we have a mount that can go faster. I don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure horses have a speed of 60 feet per turn, but we left Cyril's horse back at the Haven.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can just summon it whenever.
Oh. Would you be okay with?
Also fair.
Yeah, because I have Fine Steed.
Would you be okay with putting haste on it? Or, yeah.
The Fine Steed one, I think I don't. Yeah, the Fine Steed one is different. It's a magical creature. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think it would actually be entirely fine.
I don't think we have a problem with getting a seed if we need one.
Well, Dakota looks up from the cake. It's like not entirely sure what's happening, but it's just like, I have a horse. Horse hates me, but I have one. Where are we riding?
Rue wants to ride around the town when we get there and try to locate to see if any scales have been dropped by the people who are kidnapping people.
Right.
I can literally summon many animals and also be many animals. As, just to throw that out there.
Summons bears. Get on my bears, guys.
Do those animals that you can summon, do they communicate with you?
Well, they're fey spirits taking on the form of animal. They don't mind it though. It's more like calling in a favor.
Right.
Druids have a relationship with nature itself. So if we call upon a favor back because we also take care of nature, that favor is returned.
So they could potentially tell you if something's happening in Way area.
Yes, they can come back to me. I also have my familiar I can well, who is quite sneaky when they aren't talking.
Sounds good.
I think that sounds like we have our reconnaissance. It sounds like we've covered scouting.
And then we can use our little stones to let each other know if we get something. Because the next person could come in if we find someone bad.
But even if we manage to take down the one party, how do we know that more won't simply return in greater troves? Surely it couldn't just be one organization, else the situation would likely have already been handled. Or I take that back, not organization, group, I should have said.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think there's too much similarity for it not to be one single group.
I think everyone tends to think a few steps ahead of where we are.
And
Like we can wonder about what ifs or if we're going to ride around the town or not all we want, but shouldn't we answer questions closer to home first, such as do we want to investigate it right away? Do we want to do something else right away? What are we going to ask Roderick?
I actually would like to ask him what a Yonti kidnapping entailed, and what he would think someone would do to perhaps frame a kidnapping as one done by a Yonti.
That's a good question. So maybe since he's familiar with the rumors that were going around on the time, he would know what the sacrifices were supposed to entail. And thus for what they would do in order to hand these out, maybe it has to be a specific time, specific place, specific things are required.
Right.
That is assuming it is connected to that. There is also, so Cyril wants me, him, and Sapphire to go. Do the three of you also want to go visit Roderick, or would you like to do something else, like maybe try to find Cade?
Like try and find what? I didn't quite catch the end of that.
Cade.
Why find Cade?
Just to ask more about the town itself and the investigation. He might already be in town.
That's fair. Still, got on a few other things to be thinking about as well. He says, finishing off another sigil on the wall.
I feel like
Your
we already
writing's
covered
looking
the
a
whole-
little janky. Perhaps you could get some rest, Gilmore.
I'm fine. We don't exactly have time to be doing too much deliberation anyway.
I mean, we kind of do.
It could be good if we go off, I guess, and help Yomar think of his questions. I don't know if we need to know more from Kate, but I guess we can chill.
Well, what do we want to know from Aloria? And Nia will look towards Gilmar.
How long did you say it was until the next full moon again?
Soon.
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
He looks like he's still debating giving a fire back or firing back some sort of other comment, but he's just like,
Fine, he says before proceeding to take the axe off his back, lay it on the side, and gets back into the bunk.
You'll think better when you get some rest.
If you say so, he says, staring up at the next bunk above him.
Oh. It's okay.
You don't-
Thinking is really hard.
You could stay up.
I could, but you would. But I'm fairly certain you wouldn't get off my back if I did it that way.
No, I would.
Absolutely not.
One being like, yeah, the other one being like, no. Okay. So what are your guys' plans?
Right now, my personal plan is to actually get a hold of Roderick and hopefully Cade at the same time so that we can go over a map of Stillwater and have sort of like and sort of get like a like mark up the map with everywhere that's with all the places that have been hit and you know which ones were first, second, third, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Because that should show at least where they started and possibly what direction they came from, and hopefully some kind of pattern that like what direction they've been going in, if they've been drawing a curly Q in the in the inside of the town.
Okay.
Ania is just gonna follow Cyril for now. She does have something to ask Roderick herself anyway.
Okay.
If Kate's the main person who is taking care of the whole thing, he might know more about the houses hit. I don't know, but I think Roderick would probably still care.
Well, Roderick, just because like I've got like a couple of questions I wanted to ask him, and Cade like the main thing for Cade is that I need Cade and a map.
Do we want to ask Roderick where Cade is, or ask someone?
I mean, Roderick could just tell Cade
Summon
to meet
him.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay. Dakota, Sapphire, do you two have anything you want to do at the moment?
Sapphire typed that she's also gonna be following Cyril around like Nia.
Ah, okay. Dakota?
Cake.
Oh my god, I was muted. I don't think Dakota has like much. I mean, he's got preoccupied with eating this cake. But yeah, I don't know if Dakota has any specific things that with everything. Might just tag along. Might snoop. He might snoop around the castle.
You might snoop.
Might snoop.
You know, fair enough. Yeah. All right.
This castle's weird. No one's explained anything about what's going on around here.
Fair enough. Are you guys gonna go immediately, or are you gonna wait for Gelmar to wake up?
I think we can let Gelmar sleep.
I was gonna say, if they expect him to get a whole night's rest, and they probably are gonna be leaving him there for like 8 hours or something like that.
Okay. Cool. So the majority of y'all gonna go and talk to Roderick, while Dakota is going to Snoops.
Yeah.
Right before we leave, Cyril's gonna walk over to Dakota and give Dakota his book back.
Wait.
Full circle.
Wait, wasn't that currently with Sapphire?
She handed it to Cyril on
Sapphire
the
gave
boat.
it to Cyril.
Oh, okay.
You had the book, sir.
Ania looks
Was it?
impish.
It was a thumping good read.
Thank you.
Very informative.
That is very medicine, sir.
Do you note this down in your book, Rue, that Cyril's handing Dakota a book of some sorts?
If it's just a book, probably not.
It depends on if you try to get a look at the cover.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's just a book too.
Well,
Or if
there are-
Gelmar's still awake.
You can see that he's trying to get rest, but he still very clearly has his eyes open, staring at the ceiling.
He's not even looking at the book. He's just out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. There are other people around Dakota who will probably like take it, just like, and then just like kind of like look around, kind of to check if anyone's looking, and then slip that into the back under his poncho.
With her intelligence not being that keen on books,
Mhm.
probably not. She's like looking around instead.
Cool. It's just like the most awkward interaction. You're just like, oh. Alright.
Thank you for returning it, unlike some people.
Ania looks impish.
Like a dagger to the heart right there.
Did anyone else read it, or
Read what?
nothing? Just some things.
Oh, have fun.
You could try casting Sleep, Sapphire. Let me look at the new rules for Sleep, because I fucking hate the old rules on. So,
I
Can you
just
roll
sent them in
the
somewhere else. I
cons
think I've still got the screenshot. Let me quickly send that in.
absolutely.
Are we okay leaving Gelmar alone?
That's
Gelmar, are
what
you
Rue is-
okay?
We had to talk this morning,
I'll be
but
fine.
I'm gonna. Are you sure? I think I was going to hang out.
It's way better. Okay, yeah.
Suit yourself.
I like that way better. Okay. You are welcome to use Sleep if you'd like to, Sapphire. Gelmar will have to pass a DC 13 Wisdom check.
Technically speaking, I had to pass
think-
2 con saves. Well,
Oh.
the con save, or the first con save is whether or not the spell works. The second one is whether it's deep sleep or if it's just temporary disorientation, I guess is the best way to phrase it.
It looks like it's a Wisdom save.
Is it a wisdom? Maybe I have it wrong.
What was that, Nia?
Yeah, it's a wisdom save.
I think Sapphire was in character saying, I can cast sleep to Gelmar. I could be wrong. Like offering.
Mhm.
So feel free to say yes or no to that.
I won't stop you if that's the way you'd like to use your spell slots. But be careful, I hear that that most casters tend to have a limit on those.
Do some have infinite?
I wouldn't know, I've never met one that had that many.
Huh?
I'm certain there's one somewhere.
Sapphire says, I was only offering the help, but if you don't need it, I won't use it.
Mm-hmm. I'll be
Thank you.
for sticking around here. I was planning on sticking around the castle to get some lay of the land around here. If anything happens, you can hit me up on the old stone.
We'll
He
do.
slowly turns over.
If someone does notice you, though,
He says, grabbing his previous great axe and offering it over to him.
you could just say that you got lost looking for the training area.
He says, holding it out to her.
Oh, to Dakota.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Yup.
To him.
Can I even hold that?
I don't think you can.
You can
I think
hold
the
it, you
heaviest weapon
can't
is still
swing it.
technically- I was about to say, I'm pretty sure the heaviest weapons in the game are only like 8 pounds mechanically, and you can literally pick that up with a strength score of 1.
Yeah, you can hold it because of how big it is. It's very unwieldy, so very difficult to hold. But you cannot swing it, at least not in any way that would be meaningful in any capacity.
I mighty appreciate it, sir, but I was planning to go around a little more sneaky like, and the thing might weigh me down a bit. I don't plan to get caught now.
Suit yourself. I still have more plans for this thing in its future anyway, he says, sliding it behind the Man of Steel axe.
Mm-hmm. Alright, cool.
Alright.
Keep watch on Gilmar so he can have a good rest, because I know that you're a little concerned about making sure that you're safe and everybody is safe. So I will keep you safe.
Yeah. Gelmar has something to watch him.
Just take care with those questions. Somehow I suspect saying the wrong things will be telling him what we're doing as well.
Ciao.
No, you'll be like, oh, I'm sure he already knows most of it. Like, casually.
Hope not. If he knows too much, he's likely to start trying to stop us from aiding him.
Nah, he doesn't care.
And she sounds weirdly confident about this, despite she having, as far as the party knows, no basis to have this confidence. But this is not the first time she's done that.
So you guys heading off to find Roderick now?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. And Dakota, are you staying with Dakota or Rue? Are you staying with Gelmar or?
Yep. I'm gonna hang out in the same room.
If someone tries coming into that room, they're either gonna die or they'll talk to her.
Yeah, she'll be kind of nearish the door, but not exactly. But yeah, no one's gonna open the door.
Cool. And Dakota, are you gonna sneak around?
Yep.
Alright, so I'm gonna have Cyril, Gelmar, and Ania, not Gelmar, Cyril, Sapphire, and Ania heading to Roderick, and we're gonna look at Dakota real quick, as this one is probably going to be a little bit faster. So, Dakota, you're heading around, you're walking down the massive flight of stairs again. It's your favorite place, your favorite road to walk. Are these excruciatingly long stairs?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I think mostly I'm gonna be like trying to get the sort of lay of where lay of the land, trying to see what I haven't like seen yet, making this sort of mental map in my mind, seeing if there's anything like important, seeing if there's anything that may or may not be dangerous, like that, those sorts of things, while trying to like sort of avoid people.
Okay, roll me a stealth check.
Yeah, that is. Come on, Dakota, you got this. That is perfectly mediocre.
Oh crud.
With a 3 on the roll and a 10 as the total, you do slip up a few times, but nothing major, thankfully. As you go around the area and you gain the lay of the land, it is a castle zone. There is not a whole lot here. You can tell there are, rough counting, probably around 200 bandits in this area. There's a couple places to get food. They probably do a lot of foraging, a lot of gathering, a lot of different other ways of making and gathering food. They probably also get a lot of food from raids and stuff. So they seem to be semi-stocked up on food supplies for the most part. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of things to do here in terms of entertainment, nor is there a whole lot of danger that you can see around the area. There are all kinds of creatures here, but primarily it is half-elves, wood-elves, humans, and swear there was another one I had stated at one point. There's a couple of dragonborns that you see. I'm assuming you stay very far away from all.
I think you said goblins
Yeah.
before.
Right. There's a couple goblins in here too. They are also very less noticeable, but not noticeable is not the word. They're very less populated in this area than humans or elves or anything like that. But it is odd to you. You've never seen a goblin before. In fact, you don't know much about them aside from the fact that they are renowned as one of the best hunters on the continent, as well as basically they will eat anything, including flesh, bone, people, food, and anything inanimate.
Steering away from those guys.
Yeah, they do not care what they eat. They will eat anything you give them. And this includes rocks, by the way. You do in fact watch two of them arguing over rocks, and then they start eating the rocks. Don't know what it gives them, but they like rocks apparently. Aside from that, you mostly see random assortments of areas, including sleeping areas, which there are quite a few. They seem to sleep a lot of the day, just in case. There are, I think, 2 blacksmiths, but they don't seem pretty good at their job. They're definitely nothing compared to Gelmar or Iron Fist. And but they seem to be mostly caretaking for the weapons rather than forging them. So cleaning them, sharpening them, so on and so forth. And then there's like 2 or 3 training grounds. As you reach one of the training grounds, you do see a very familiar face. Alexandria, looking at the demolished dummy that Galmar was fighting, with almost a look of pride before she starts mimicking it for the second dummy next to it. Weirdly enough, as you're watching her, she starts cutting into the dummy, and at first you don't really, you just think it's like some random swings and stuff, and then you realize she's making the dummy look exactly like Gelmar's by using the exact same moves that Gelmar used, in the exact same order Gelmar used.
Huh.
Yeah.
Figuring out just from the damage?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Let's not get into a scrap with her. Alright, okay. Do I know if Roderick is in the throne room, or coffin room right now?
You would be fairly confident you are not finding him anywhere around here.
Okay, alright. Can't snoop around there then, probably.
You know what?
Can't snoop in there, probably then.
Unfortunately not.
Curses. I'll probably have to wait till nighttime or something for that. Yeah, most I'm trying to figure out, like, if things end up going badly around here, trying to, like, get, like, an understanding of how everything works and where they might be keeping their trump cards.
Okay, roll me a survival check real quick.
Okay, survival. Kind of really fascinating that I have a plus. Oh
God
my
damn.
god!
Yeah.
Suddenly, every single step makes sense.
I
can
swear,
draw an entire
every
map of the entire location off of memory
Can
while
I?
blindfolded.
I swear
Still know where
every
she
session
is.
we need at least one natural 20 that is recorded. So you are looking around the area. You start basically mapping the entire area in your head. So you know all the different ways to get out of the city by heart at this point. You also notice a couple of armories. They have 3 of them specifically, quite distinctly, and they are mostly for storing their weapons when they are not actively using them. A lot of people tend to keep a lot of weapons on them, but they have a lot of other special weapons in there, just in case their weapons break, in case they need to switch weapons quickly, or they have a lot more people than they have need for weapons. So there's like 3 armories. That's probably where people will go first if something starts invading them. You also notice that there are a couple of places which store some form of explosives, specifically black powder. You're not entirely sure why they would be using it, but there's about 2 places. They basically separated the 2 stockholds of black powder so that if you blow up one of them, they still have some left. Again, you're not really sure why they're there, but they're on the two opposite sides of the entire area.
Fascinating. All right. Okay. Well, now I know where to go first if we ever need to steal something.
Oh my gosh.
Dakota is going rogue. Complete with face paint.
Is there anything else you were looking to figure out here?
I don't know, cause if like all like cause I assume the majority of like the big stuff would probably be around the coffin room, but they probably have better security for that, so I probably can't snoop around there in effectively broad daylight. But
Why did you try to look for secrets?
So if the big secrets are like gonna be there, now I have a mental map of like the castle so I can get to the secrets easier.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I think I'll probably head back now if everything interesting I can get to now is exhausted.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, there's a couple other places, like there's a bar in town and stuff, but considering there are Dragonborns here, being in a bar probably is not the best for your sneakiness.
Yeah, that and I don't drink, so
that too.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be where a majority of people tend to be, either to relax or to talk about their day and stuff like that. So that's probably where most folks go for recreational purposes.
Yeah, I figured out my sneaking routes, and that's like the big thing as well. I figured out where everyone's going to be going to for their weapons. I've generally figured out the best like sneaking routes, so I have the lay of the land in case you need to fight Roderick or something. Which you probably won't, but Dakota likes to be prepared, so I'll probably
Fair enough. All right, that takes you probably most of the day, I would say. Probably a good like 5 or so hours, because you are traveling around the entire castle, or the entire ruins, I should say.
So we're exhausted now. I have to put my body back.
Yeah,
I have to revert my exercise.
We gotta revert back. So we're gonna move over to. Well, first off, we're gonna look at Rue real quick. So after Gelmar starts, actually falling asleep, actually, properly sleeping and stuff. It takes about probably half an hour, maybe an hour or so. But as you're sitting there inside of the room with him, you start hearing him. What's the word? Jolting, growling, even clenching. One of his fists. He is definitely not having a good sleep. But most notably, around his neck and around his wrist area, under his clothes, you see faint glowing.
And his ankles.
Oh, and his ankles, yeah. You see faint glowing. It pulses every now and again, but it's definitely a noticeable glow.
As well as I would imagine, a fair few magic sparks.
Oh, yeah.
As if a spell isn't working right.
She'll get a little closer to investigate, make sure he's okay.
Gelmar, feel free to tell her what she sees.
Physically, he seems fine. The specific materials you've seen or look exactly as you remember them, partially because I have directly DM'd you what it is you can see on him. But for the sake of it, that green thing that looked like a strap to everyone else, you've already seen underneath. That's a prisoner's collar of an odd green metal. It seems to give off an odd glow occasionally, especially as his growling gets louder or any other signs of stress seem to carry on. But invariably, after every one of these bouts, he also slowly calms back down again, and the glow slowly begins to fade. Over and over again, this cycle continues for a few hours at the very least.
Aww. She'll stand by his side, not scared of him, though she knows that he can be his own type of scary person. But she will try to soothe him and lays a hand just gently over where some of the glowing is. Maybe and maybe cast like guidance. Just trying to help him with like a presence
Mhm.
of support.
So you put a hand kind of on the person of color, metal, and immediately you feel like a jolt into your hand. Do you move it or do you keep it there?
I keep it.
Okay. So it kind of jolts you every now and again. It's definitely not pleasant. It reminds me vaguely of when you were pulling glass out of Cyril's chest frame. It's small, like almost cuts into your hand, but of electricity, essentially, as it just keeps jolting you every now and again. But you do cast guidance on it, and the best way I can describe it is that the magic flows around the collar into Galmar. So Galmar, you do get guidance in your sleep, however that may affect you.
Is it hurting? Is it from the thing around him, like hurting him?
Does not seem to be that way.
Mhm. Hmm. Is it any type of evil or anything? It's just a tool.
It looks like a tool, although you're not quite sure who or why it would be put on someone like him.
Oh, friend, looks like you are not having a very good sleep with these. She's just going to try to keep at the guidance, maybe pull up a chair,
Mhm.
and just try to keep it where he's not gonna, hopefully he can't feel that much jolting on him, and just either take it myself.
Okay. Oh, cool. So I would say that as you do that, it seems to be both a little bit better sometimes throughout the hours. It seems to calm down a little bit, and sometimes it almost makes it worse a little bit. But for the most part, it seems to help him just a little bit, I would say. But yeah, definitely seems to be. I suppose the best word would be devouring some of the magic you put into it. As you're touching it and holding it, it as you cast the guidance and it kind of moves around it for the most part, but as it shocks you, you can feel it kind of like almost trying to eat your own magical energy. Not the spell you use specifically, but the magic that you have in you as you're touching it. That's what it's trying to feed on, but can't seem to. It seems overwhelmed for the most part. So like the lightning flashes into your hands is like it trying to reach out to grab into you before it dissipates.
Mhm. Uh,
Do you do anything else, or are you just waiting at the moment?
oh man, because I don't have my other type of sanctuary places to do. Trying to make a nice little area.
Yeah.
I'll just try to imbue like the whole room with divine energy, like with guidance. Just keep on casting it and casting it until it's just a warm, sunny room.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna make it choke on the fucking magic.
You know what? Fair enough.
Let this boy sleep. leave him alone.
Let this motherfucker sleep. Gelmar, I will let you say what happens when that happens.
I mean, I could give you the same.
Does
It
it
seems
help
to be
you?
an
Does it
ongoing-
hinder you?
It doesn't really seem to be doing much of either. It just seems as if the restraints around his neck, specifically the one you're interacting with, just seems to keep consuming the magic around it. But aside from that, it doesn't seem like anything's happening. All the rest of the magics you're using seem to be working as normally.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, she just keeps trying, and she's not very smart, so she doesn't know how to help. But
Poor
she
Rue.
takes out her notebook with one hand, because the other one's going to be still there trying to keep the magic from hurting Gelmar.
Mhm.
And writes down a note to talk to friend about how to help Gelmar.
Aww.
Mm.
Alright, cool. Well, with that, we're going to transition over to Ania, Cyril, and Sapphire. You guys head out of the room some hours before. And you guys, I assume, go directly to Roderick to try to get him to get Kate up. Is that correct?
Yeah, if that's possible.
Alright. So you guys head over to the massive fucking doors that you saw before. They are closed this time as they were previously. Last time you had Alexandra open the doors for you. You guys are welcome to try opening the doors yourself if you would like to.
I feel out of politeness we should knock.
Yeah, we should knock.
Right?
Yeah.
So Cyril's gonna take like the bottom end of his of the partisan, and he's just gonna like knock really hard with it on the door.
Fair enough. You knock really hard on it, and as you do, it slides it ever so slightly forward. But the noise rings out through the entire area, and you just hear in response a very low kind of thrum that goes through the area. Yeah, you assume based on it that's probably how he says come in, given how big these doors are and how thick they are.
Well,
was
he
good.
at least knows we're here.
Yes.
So Cyril's gonna go and he's gonna push open the door.
Cool. As you do, you can feel just how heavy these doors are. They are so heavy that it takes you literally shoulder pushing it to open it. And it's like, these things could probably tank multiple fireballs without even really being injured all that much. And they are solid stone too. So it takes you a minute to just push the door open, and it really demonstrates to you the sheer quantity of strength that Alexandria must have, as she did this like it was easy. But you eventually do manage to open up the door just wide enough that you and your crew can get in. And it was not an easy process. But as you enter, you see Roderick just sitting there on the coffin, smiling at the three of you, and he's just like, welcome again.
Indeed.
Have you all found out the name?
Cyril kind of turns to Ania for that.
And Neil's like, we thought of one. Dakota says it better, but Dakota didn't come with us. We decided on Vale's Equinox.
Interesting. In that case, Vale's Equinox, or at least the party of which you have occurred so far, welcome to my great halls.
Ania gives a respectful half bow.
What can I do for you?
Well, we actually have a few questions for you and for Cade regarding Stillwater.
Ah. Cade is a busy man, but I'm sure I can arrange for someone to get him. Hold on just a moment. And he kind of like slowly spins his staff just a little bit in a very, very tight circle, and he closes his eyes, and then he opens them, and he stops his staff, and he goes, "He will be here shortly."
Outstanding.
Before then, I had a question for something that maybe I can do after we're done here.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have like a Yonti treasure room with stuff in it?
I wouldn't say treasure room per se, but we do have all kinds of treasures lying around. He kind of gestures to some of the. Oh, I should change the map to the throne room. Hold on. Doo. There you go. He kind of gestures to some of the room around him. You do see quite a few Yonti stuffs, from vases to jars to weapons to even some gold pieces, like gold coins and such, that you don't quite recognize, with snake head and a snake tail for heads and tails, respectively. We do have all kinds of relics, many of which I've brought to this room. Many of which are outside, are, well, general day-to-day stuff that Yonti used to use. You may look at any that you wish.
Even in here?
I do not mind.
Yes, and Ania will leave Cyril and Sapphire to ask any more questions before Kate arrives, and she'll start walking around to look at stuff while they wait.
Cool.
And she does this very casually.
Do you two have any questions you'd like to ask?
Looks like Sapphire's typing something.
Cyril's going to give Sapphire a chance to ask a question first.
Cool. The question shall be asked. Why did... Oh! She asks, why did he stare at my hair instead of me in the face? He's gonna look at Sapphire. And again, there's probably about a 70 or so feet between you guys and him at the coffin. So he stares at you directly, which is slightly unnerving considering the distance. But he does look at you, and he smiles again. He just goes, "You are touched by the Fae, child. Your face is of no consequence to me, but your Fae nature is a very obvious nature. It is something that intrigues me, just like your friend over there." He gestures with his head ever so slightly to Ania, and he stares at Cyril.
Ania sticks her tongue out.
Whatever you might be, sir, I see a curse upon you, but even I don't know what it is that you have about.
That is a story for another day.
A story I doubt I need to be present for. But that's what, child, is why I focused on your hair. Only the Fae come with adornments, shall we say. He kind of grabs his staff and moves it more in front of him as he kind of starts leaning on it. Okay. She has no other questions. Cyril?
Could you perhaps walk me through what a Yonti kidnapping may have been or was supposed to have been?
It depends on many factors, but Yonti were known back in the olden days, back when the continent was fresh. They were known to sacrifice for their god, the one who turned them into the snake creatures that they are today. There are 3 separate branches of them. The ones with snake upper bodies, the one with snake lower bodies, and the ones with snake features. The closer you are to a snake, the more, shall we say, praised for being perfect that you are. As such, those with just the snake features were often seen as the lowest on the rung. And they always believed that the more they sacrificed, the more their god would change them. Before the war, or before the end of the war, I should say, that is in fact how it worked, in the most twisted sense that you can imagine. But Yuan-Ti were highly territorial and believed any who weren't their specific brand were inferior. And they responded to this by eating those around them. It was a massacre. So after the freshness of the continent, many of them separated into those 3 branches, believing themselves to be the better assassins, the better Yuan-Ti, the perfect organisms. But eventually, it got to a point where that way of thinking was disastrous, shall we say. And we ended up being in a time where they stopped believing in that god. Their sacrifices no longer worked, and they never changed again. Some several hundred years ago, we had my poor town. And that is where a lot of Yuan-Ti and humans and elves would connect with one another. And they saw that they were not the monsters that they believed themselves to be. But the kidnapping that was assumed to have happened was from those old days. The idea that they would take those around them and bloodily sacrifice them to a god that they believed cared for them. And strangely, it had some merits. There were a few that seemed to have changed, gained more reptilian features, so it wasn't completely off bias, but they not only changed physically, but they changed mentally, too.
If someone were to sow paranoia by framing the Yuan-Ti for more kidnappings, how do you think they would go about it?
Very likely this same way. They would leave a trail for us to find. They would lay down bodies in rows that we would easily be able to see. Framing someone for doing action that you assume they are doing anyways is really just convincing the other person that what they believe is true. The only odd thing is that they almost never take someone before the full moon if they took someone after the full moon the previous month. And we still do not know why.
Oh, is this a Yuan-Ti scale? And she just takes out the scale and holds it up.
He kind of looks at it and, how close are you to him?
Does she might come over. It depends how close some stuff is, because she's like walking around the room while they're talking.
Yeah, all the stuff is pretty much like anywhere from like literally right next to him to like all the way to the door. There's hundreds of items around.
Okay, she probably hasn't reached him, but she's probably like halfway between the two.
Okay, cool. So he kind of like looks at you and he squints his eyes slightly as you hold up the scale and he goes, "Ah, that is indeed, although it's shimmery." And you'll notice that the scale in your hand does in fact shimmer ever so slightly inside the lighting around you. It's primarily green, but there is a light blue shimmer that goes across it.
Have you not seen one of these
No.
since the investigation started?
Yanti scales. Well, they're reptilian. They're green. Most of the time, anyways. Like you humans, they have slightly varying scale colors, but primarily they're green. Scale shifting does not often happen. I haven't seen any of the scales my associates have gathered, because I haven't had to. So I haven't seen one till now. As fascinating, though.
And she'll start to approach to let him see it better.
It is quite beautiful. Most of the scales are muted in color.
Do they usually molt instead of shed whole scales?
No, they usually shed their scales instead of anything else. It's the strange adaptation that we've had from becoming mammals to reptilians is we keep our skin, we just shed our protective armor layer, shall we say.
Nia will nod and pocket it again if he's not interested in taking it. We'll start investigating stuff near him and try to, get a good look at the coffin while she's nearby.
You like look at the coffin decently. Do you want to investigate it or just take
I'm not gonna go over to I'm not gonna like go over to it, but I feel safe enough that I will happily roll.
Okay. Either perception or investigation. Whichever one you want.
Perception.
Okay.
Da-da-da.
Very nice. As you're looking at this coffin, you see there are, from what you can tell, just from looking at portions of it, hundreds of sigils all over the coffin. You have no idea what these sigils are. They're not in a language or a writing type that you've ever seen before. They are very clearly very old. You also see a lot of dried blood all over the edges of the coffin where it would normally be opened from.
I say nothing and go back to looking at the relics.
Very fair. Are there any particular relics that you're interested in looking at? There's relics of all shapes, forms, and sizes around.
Well, she's doing more of a cursory glance first, and then she's going to go back to things of interest. She's mostly interested in that mural that's out front.
Okay.
Anything that looks related to the god, she's very interested in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. You would probably find a couple of vases that tell a very similar story, kind of like in Greek fashion, where they would write down stories using vases. Very similar. Although this one is like, you see a lot of the vases depicting a slightly different story of like two towns meeting in the middle, That's what a lot of the different items in the room kind of symbolizes, like two towns.
Do the towns have different residents?
It looks like it. It looks like they use two different symbols for both the towns, and it looks like two different type of people in the two different towns as well. Although there's not much detail on the difference of the people.
Is there any symbol that is in between, like where the towns conjoin?
Not particularly. Whenever there's
Okay.
like the two kind of meeting up, it's usually two individuals with their basically giving a handshake. A form of truce.
All right.
Any other questions you have, Cyril?
Forgive me if this is too forward, but why are you so bent with exhaustion? Do you simply not sleep enough, or is there something we should know?
I'm older than I should be. I may look like I am young, and I can fight for a time, but I have lived much longer than my body dictates I should have. I'm sure you know the feeling well.
Yes, I can certainly relate.
Unfortunately, I do not have suppose it'd be rude to call it a blessing, but I do not have what you have of invigoration that allows me to continue moving as I should. My movements are small and in small bursts. And I don't need to move as much, but primarily I safeguard this coffin, and my talents are used in plotting and thinking. My body may not work as well as I wish it to, but my brain works perfectly. And I have people to do the business that I require, so I have not needed to do much else. Ah, there he is. And you see like Cade from behind the door kind of squeezing through a little gap, and he smiles and he goes, "Hello, hello, I have arrived. What's the questions that you have for me?" He kind of taps your shoulder by like reaching up towards you, like tapping your shoulder.
I wish to know, is there a map of Stillwater that we could use, perhaps?
Of course we have a map. He like reaches into his backpack of sorts and he like pulls out it doesn't look like it quite is the length of his backpack, but it's a decently sized map. And he pulls out and then he uncurls it and then he unfolds it and he puts it on the ground before he's like, "Oh, hold on." And he lifts it up before walking over to, well, it looks like an ornamental table of sorts, and he grabs it and slowly drags it over to the center of the room, involving all the squeaking and the clawing noises. Yeah. It just slowly drags it over until it finally is in the middle of the room, and he places it down. He's like, "Ah, there we go. Ah, much better."
Goodness.
And Nia, wincing, comes over to the table, covering her elven ear.
Ah, okay. So this is the map of the place. It's a nice town, you know, kind of small, only a couple square miles. So you know, we got a little bit to work with here, but you know, we got this little tavern here. We got Aunt Mary's house here. We got Joseph's house here, and we got little Sissy's house right here. We have a nun who kind of lives right there. We don't really know why she lives there, but she does. She started wanting the house a few years ago, and then she just never came out of it. Well, actually, we're not quite sure she's dead. I should probably go check on her at some point. Nun, I don't remember her last name. It's just Nun.
Could you perhaps mark on this map where the kidnappings took place, and if you could, organize perhaps when they took place, or at least which ones were first?
He pulls out his knife and he just starts stabbing a bunch of the map. Here. This one was a couple weeks ago. This one was a couple months ago. This one was I think this one was about 2 years ago. This one was about a month and some time ago. This one was about 4 months ago. This one was about 2.5 years ago. And he just keeps stabbing sections of the map.
What's the oldest number he says?
6.5 years ago, and that one is near, like, smack dab in the middle of the map. And we got this one, we got that one, we got this one, we got that one, we got that one. This one happened at this. He's just picking, like, what seems to be random spots over the map.
So it sounds like it was going much slower before, and they suddenly ramped it up in the past couple of years.
Kinda. We got folks from who knows how long ago to I think what's there, about four years ago? Yes, Kate, about 4 years ago we had a sudden surge of it. Instead of it happening around every 4 or so months, instead started happening just about every month. The only months, as I stated before, that don't have a ritual is when well, they take 2, one before and one after the moon.
May I roll a perception or investigation to see if I can see any pattern in location?
Sure. Roll me investigation.
Can I give her advantage on that roll?
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
All right. 16. Not bad. You're seeing some patterns. The main pattern that you're seeing is that it's kind of in a spiral. It's in a weird spiral though, because a lot of the spiral is years apart. Like, you know, if you look at like a spiral, you go from center, you go out into a spiral thing. It's not in a chronological order. It's in a weird pattern that fills that spiral, if that makes sense.
So, like, each dot over time looks random, and as more and more dots are added, it's more the spiral filled in.
Yeah.
And you can. The only reason I can even see a spiral is because there's so many.
Yeah, and the fact that he has daggered into it so many times. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's weird.
So
What
it's starting to
was
make a weird spiral.
What was the one that was just a couple weeks back?
That one, that's a good question. Hold on just a moment. 11. Well, decent enough. So I would say the one that was a couple weeks back is near the edge of the town. So near the end of the spiral. It's also the only one that is at the edge of the spiral. It's like if you just take little dots, it's like 4 or 5 dots away from the nearest dot.
Mm-hmm. And Nia will look at the map for a bit, like, kind of looks like a spiral.
So it does. Huh. I didn't know that was a spiral. That's kind of wicked. Nice. You got some nice eyes, lady.
Thank you.
Kind of starts twisting the knife in his hands, and he's like, so... Well, I mean, we could go into the middle again, we could go outside the thing again. I mean, there's some... we haven't found many tracks yet, but, you know, we could wait until the full moon, we could get ambushed, we could get annihilated, we could get assassinated, we could assassinate them. You know, I ain't too good with this whole thinking thing, you know?
Do you have a list of the people who were kidnapped and any information about them by chance?
Of course we do. We have a full list. It's, Oh. Where did I put that list? I think I gave it to Alexandria. It's somewhere.
I hope it's okay. If we can't find it, you seem to have a good memory. Could you write another one?
I could probably give you some of them.
Okay, we'll try to find it first.
All right, Missy. You got a good head on your shoulders. he kind of looks over at Roderick, and he half whispers, but clearly you can all hear. And he's like, "She's smart. I like her." He just shakes his head.
Neo looks back to Cyril.
Cyril's kind of tracing this spiral with his finger. And so the most recent ones are following that spiral pattern, right?
Yeah, all the way at the edge of the town.
And the very first one was the very center of the spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So something is about to happen. Are there any important celestial events happening soon?
I would know that.
You would, yeah. I probably Roderick will about to answer, but I'm 100% certain you would know the answer even faster than he would. Roll me nature real quick.
Watch me get a 1. Knock on wood first.
The moon rises.
Yeah.
There you go. So you would know that obviously the new moon, the full moon is going to happen here soon. However, in the month of, let me look at my world again. Where's that lore? Yeah, I think it's in lore. In the month of autumn, yeah, in the month of autumn is most known for a lot of the celestial patterns in the month of autumn is harvest. Specifically, the idea that the month of autumn is best for harvesting fruits and seeds and stuff like that. The month of monarch is usually seen as some of the hottest months. So anything that can survive through the hottest months and actually produce stuff in autumn is typically seen as a more plentiful harvest than it would be if you delay it for a little bit longer and you try to get the harvest down in Spectral or Seraphina. So usually speaking, a lot of people have cultivated their harvests to be able to endure a lot of the heat, a lot of the strength of the summer, and produce specifically in autumn to give them higher harvests.
And he would chirp up, just like,
Nothing too big. I mean, there's harvest coming up in autumn. I don't know if that would have any significance. It's usually related to grain. Other crops.
I feel like this pattern might be pointing us in at least a direction to narrow down where they might strike.
Kate kind of like flips the knife a little bit in his hands before he like kind of flings it upwards, and it lands point down onto the table, and he just goes, "Well, I mean, people can be harvested too."
Harvested for what?
no, what did Cyril say?
Harvested for what?
I mean, anything. I mean, we eat grain in order to eat, bread, and we can make it into all kinds of things, and we hunt animals for the meat, for the bones, for the flesh. What do you say? Humans is just mammals. He says this in the most casual way you've ever heard someone talk about killing people.
Goodness.
Nia doesn't seem too phased, but she'll be like,
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. The only reason harvest is for harvest is because it's related to heat.
I don't know much about people. I don't know much about harvesting cultivations. What word you folks use? But I do know that if you take a person, you burn them, they get burned and they taste real good. It's like jerky. Yeah, y'all ever had jerky?
Not human one.
Ah. I only had it once in my life. I was around cannibals, and they were going to eat me if I didn't, but you know, it's fine. I survived. That's the important part.
You will nod and look back at the map.
Just slow look. Please stop talking to me.
Roderick,
Yeah.
remind me again. These sacrifices, did they happen mostly around the harvest?
They usually happen during the full moon. We've had a few of them happen on autumn, but so far they haven't seemed to change their pattern. Though weirdly enough, the Monarch's month is almost always passed every year, this year being no exception.
Nia will point to the spiral again, and she'll be like,
What if it's not a hint towards location? What if...
and she'll sort of trace it and sort of hard think. She's like,
What if they're doing something in the town? Why
Uh-oh.
else would they make a pattern?
Like some kind of weird ass ritual?
Yeah, like a really, really big sigil.
Wow, that could be fancy.
What if this isn't a spiral?
You see Roderick slowly stand up, and he just slowly starts walking over to the table. Cade immediately moves to the side of the table, almost like second nature. Like he doesn't even stop looking at the table as he does so. It's almost like an innate reflex as Roderick kind of walks up to him. And Roderick slowly looks at the table, and he kind of like rests his staff against it, and he goes, "What kind of sigil?"
Sure. A spiral seems really simple, but Mr. Cade, you said you found scales? Were
Indeed,
they
I
always
did.
there?
No, not always. Only for a couple of them. I found that scale in your little pockets probably, and then I found he pulls out a couple more. Found one right here. Found one right there. Found one right there. I found one right there. And you notice, like, weirdly enough, the scales do not line up with the kidnapping. It's almost like you took directly through the center of the spiral is a line of these scales.
That makes a line.
And does. Kind of weird. There are two of them that do line up, or three of them that do line up with the spiral, and they're in the spiral's pattern.
Ania's gonna take out the scale, and I think I readied this today just to look at relics. Let me double check. Detect magic. And she's going to, of course, she's probably going to get like mind blasted being right next to Roderick, but she's going to do it anyway. So detect magic. For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any.
Okay, let me just look up these schools of magic real quick.
And
Memory
she's
served,
going
I
to
believe
focus.
There's 7. Memory served, I believe there's 7.
Yeah.
I don't think I need.
So
They are. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. So I'm assuming you're like kind of blocking Roderick out with like your hand or something.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna look at him really. I already know magic. It's gonna be like a beacon. I'm just looking at the scale.
Yeah, you can kind of feel. There are 8, by the way, but you can kind of feel his magic like reverberating off the walls of the room practically, which is definitely making this a little bit more difficult. But I would say the magic that the scale specifically gives as you're like tunnel visioning into it is conjuration magic. specifically.
This scale is magic. That could be related to something they're doing, or it could just be, well, it's conjuration, and she taps it. That does relate to changing and such.
Let me just double check. Are like the transformation for turning into things also conjuration?
I
Is that
think
like-
polymorph is.
Oh no, that's transmutation.
Oh yeah.
So what is conjuration usually?
Conjuration, I think, is pulling something from nothing.
Conjuration is portals, creation, and yeah, mostly just those two.
Oh, it's kind of summoning.
Yeah.
Okay. And she looks at it like, oh wait, no, that's summoning magic. That's kind of weird.
That is an unpleasant thought.
I think your problem might be much bigger than kidnappings, Roderick.
Indeed.
I think someone is using your people for something.
Infuriating. And you can all feel that pressure of his magic from earlier that's, just generally on your shoulders pushing against you now.
Ania closes her eye and just sort of keeps her back to Roderick. She's like, ugh.
He's clearly irritated by this concept. You can feel it pressing down onto your backs as he stares at this map.
Sir, if you could rein it in a little.
Nah, I do apologize. And you feel it immediately just kind of fade from your backs back to that original pressure. That happens when I get angry.
I can understand. If this were not a spiral, if this were a snake coiling, would this mean something different?
Well, if we assume it's a snake coiling, then we have to assume the scales are something else as well, which would imply it is a snake being stabbed all the way through.
Oh, you're right. It would look like that.
And unfortunately, that is often a marker for the Yuan-Ti of... it's the best way to say it. Suicidal sacrification.
Sacrification. What a word. Is that a word? Is that a word you just said?
I don't actually know.
But it is.
It's Roger.
I don't think so, but who knows?
I think it is. I typed it in. I was like, holy yeah.
Yeah, it is a noun that means
Yeah, it
the
is a
act
word.
of making a sacrifice.
Wow.
crap.
bro.
Ah,
This dude knows his English.
Fucking
He is
Scrabble with
old.
it, right?
That's a triple score word.
Damn. Next person puts down like sky. I'm like, bro, I can't do this.
Sacrification. Ania will tap the map and look up to Roderick, and then immediately regret her decision and just sort of wince and grimace, and she'll be like,
Well, we will look to see if Alexandria has the list of people when we are ready to go, because I do think we do want to at least look into it, despite your earlier statements. Could we maybe have like a caravan or something? Like a cart?
Certainly. Actually, you can go with Alexandria. She has her own that she often brings to the area, and she has been itching for... Now, probably combat.
Good, thank you.
Not a problem. I would
And
love
she'll-
to see it if you could erase this thorn from my side before more of my townsfolk die.
Nidania looks away. Too bright.
Very bright. It's like a sun in the room. But he looks up at Cyril and he's just like, I care for these town villagers like they are my family. The fact that so many of them have gone missing over so many years is infuriating. The idea that they are being used to fuel a sick abomination of nature makes me want to rip out their throats and splay their blood on the ground and watch it boil.
I can appreciate that feeling. I don't. Before we go, I am not familiar with even small versions. Well, I'm not as familiar with summoning and conjuration as you.
Hmm.
If their next move was the next point in the sigil like this, would you say it would be here and it kind of trying to trace that line going through the spiral?
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of trying to like draw that equidistance from top to bottom of the symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part empty?
It is not. The scale seems to be complete unless there's something at the very end of either end. But there's nothing in the middle. The spiral does have two spots that seem like they might have things that they can connect. It might be just distance, like it could be increasing in size, but based on the very last dot that you guys have, there is one that is almost perfectly in between the last dot and the, I suppose, third to last in this case. There is also one near the middle, but you can't quite be certain if that's just distance because of how the spiral is, or if it's actually a missing spot.
And they are knife marks, not dots, so...
Yeah. He could also just have fucked up a little bit.
What do you two think? Or should we focus our efforts near the tail?
Well,
the
there
head of the
is...
snake?
They likely will not do anything until the full moon, or at least maybe a few days prior. So... it's very unlikely you'll be able to find much information in that spot if that is where they seek to be until time happens. So in the meantime, I would likely suggest you follow the edge of the spiral and see if there is anything you can find there, such as tracks, hiding space for them, place for them to be. They must keep a good eye on us. I don't have much faith you'll be able to. They are expert assassins, of course, but any creature can slip up.
This is going to sound extremely odd that I'm asking this question. Do you have anyone skilled in making dolls?
Making dolls?
Yes.
Do they need to be of a specific material?
No, I don't think a specific material, but big enough to replace the residents in the homes in these blank spaces.
Like body-size dolls?
Decoys.
Maybe. Kind of looks at Cade, and Cade grabs the knife and he goes, I mean, I could probably make some kind of humanoid wood piece. I don't know how well I could do it, but I think I could give it a shot. I'm probably the best willer you guys got around here. I mean, we got some forgesmiths, but I doubt metal is gonna work any better than wood. Oop, shit.
I think Gilmore will wring our necks if we use metal for this.
She looks at the map again, like,
I don't think we need to try to plan immediately to intercept them. We haven't even tried to look for tracks yet. We could do that first. And then if we need to intercept, we can.
That's a good idea.
That would likely be the best of opportunities. Otherwise, you might just be wasting time. Although, whatever plans they may have inside of these homes, you're welcome to look through them. We haven't touched them since.
Oh, has it rained since the last kidnapping?
Has it rained? No, I don't believe so.
Oh, that's great.
It's often near the end of Monarch, we barely get any rain, and through the beginning of autumn, we also don't often get some. Near the middle, we do get some rain, however. A lot of folks see the first rain of autumn as a sign of purity.
That means if there are tracks, they might not be washed away. Although it has been a while. I assume we can take this map since you stabbed it a bunch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I got many more of those, I think.
Nia's gonna carefully roll the stabbed map up.
He's like, I don't need that anymore. I got all in my brain space. I think that was her house. Nun, jackass, little lady. I got all in my brain space. Yeah. Just kind of smiles at you, staring.
And you will look to Cyril and Sapphire, see if they have more follow-ups.
Thank you very much. This
Thank you.
Put us in a much better position than we were before.
Well, I appreciate your help in removing this thorn from my side. Trust me, if they do what they want to, that town will not be on the map for very much longer.
I fear that this thorn may go deeper than we think.
I have little doubts that it will.
It may require more of your focus than you're hoping.
Other matters.
We shall see how far this thorn goes down, and if I need to, I will slice open this hand to remove the thorn. Whatever gets this thorn out is what I shall do.
That is good to know.
Well, it is time for you to return to your friends, I suppose. Inform them upon the details. He slowly walks back over to his coffin, and before he sits down, he hits it really hard with the bottom of his staff. And then he just kind of sits down. It was good to see Vale Equinox, I believe.
It was good to see you too, Rodri.
Hero kind of like turns his head really slowly to Nia.
Nia's cheerful as ever.
He doesn't even look at her as she says that. He, like, a very small smile kind of like edges the side of his mouth, but he just, besides that, he doesn't make any notion towards it.
She's ready to go unless Sapphire follow-up to do. I know it's a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any follow up, so
Ready to go too. Nice.
Cool. All right. So you all exit the room to eventually get back to the Sleeping Galmar. A couple hours later, Dakota will come by as well, and we will start next session with all of you guys being in your room, talking amongst yourselves about the next plan that you have before finding Alexandria, taking her cart all the way to Stillwater, and probably having some kind of horrifying notions inside of Stillwater, but we shall see. If you guys want to see what kind of interesting or entertaining or downright terrifying things that they encounter, please join us next week at 6 p.m. PST on Friday, and we'll see all of you fine folks. For everyone who hasn't already, have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas over the next week, as we're going to be joining back a few days after Christmas. So, happy holidays to anyone who is celebrating any and all the holidays. And if you guys want to see more of our content, as we will also be having a Christmas episode on the 25th, most likely, feel free to continue following, join us for future episodes, and we'll see all of you fine folks next time. It's a little bit late, so I'm not going to be doing a raid tonight, so I'll just say, have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see all of you fine folks next time. Bye!
Bye-bye.
yes.
Bye.
Bye.